live here. So it's an interesting conversation we're having backstage. Have it up front.
Which could be on stream.
Yeah. It's always weird. And I know, this is basically exactly how we used to do things. I used to hear something, and then I would go, holy crap, I need to talk about that. And it doesn't matter the time of day or anything. I would start a live stream. I think one of the worst pieces of advice I got was schedule your live streams. That's not how my channel was ever until then. And then it's like, I think it was better when it was like, okay, this pissed me off or made me curious or whatever.
Authenticity is king, and it always has been.
Well,
if you're being authentic about shit.
I'll tell you why I think that works works against me these days, especially is because I don't really remember a lot of shit. Especially when it's stuff I've already talked about. Like I saw Perch do a video I did 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm not. This is not anything against Perch. It's just
welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, I used to joke about it all the time. They're doing videos. I always brought up the Simpsons South Park thing. They did an episode where it's like Simpsons did it, and it's just all the same shit. And I don't remember. Like, somebody will say, "Oh, did you hear this controversy?" And by the time I'm making, okay, so what should we talk about? I forgot there was that controversy. Mm-hmm. I even forgot the thing that I was going to do a review of the fart book. Why did I read it if I'm not going to do a goddamn video about it?
Right.
It's
monetize your suffering.
My crappy advice about you scheduling things. You don't have to schedule everything.
Everybody, like YouTube will tell you, schedule your videos. So it's not just your crappy
I'll
advice.
just say this: off the cuff videos they're great, but schedule your other stuff like your cover rankings, like that.
Oh yeah, we all know that is. Yeah. That's just been the way. So turns out, I don't know if it's the same guy, but there's I got shared Black Cat shared with me another one of them bar videos that. Talks about us,
and the responding we will go.
Yeah, and I figure, what the heck? I'm actually watching it live here. Let me pull up another version, because this is what really struck me about this one. Is I'm on the thumbnail. I thought, wow, dude, you gave me the thumb. Thanks, man.
Up in the world, yeah.
Well, it's curious because they have Ethan. Say Cyberfrog thing, and then they have your old avatar on there. And I'm just thinking, like, it seems like they're just trying to drag you and EVS into more drama.
That's not gonna happen.
For clickbait. No.
Ethan's clique has become so isolated and like insular that I don't think he'll even know that that both of us are getting mentioned in this video.
Oh, you'd be surprised. He's probably already EFAP to this. He's probably been
but this is our half of the other half of the story. So it doesn't matter if it's drama as long as we can say something of substance about the thing.
But here's the thing, though. This isn't the first time they did a video, so what are we going to say that's new? That's my only point.
If you don't want to do it.
No.
Yeah, I analyze the arguments on the basis of the argument. If they keep repeating the same stupid thing, then I will keep responding to the same stupid thing. This is the
thumbnail right here, and I thought, okay, that's really.
I just don't want to turn a 10-minute section of the video into 3-hour talking points.
If there's 3 hours worth of stupid in those 10 minutes, it deserves to be. I'm gonna borrow a phrase from a YouTuber by the name of Goodfella. It takes 3 seconds for a fire hose full of crap to spray crap all over the room. It takes all day to clean up that shit.
That could be very well. Okay, so by the way, I did talk to the guy who made this. He says, by all means, please, do the EFAP, which he's right. He mentioned something of, you said you saw a comment where it's like, it might actually lead to more content because, you could get 2 YouTubers sniping at each other. I don't think that's going to be.
Alismat the Shadow Band.
Alismat the Shadow Band. Yeah, apparently he was part of the later days although he's listened to and watched our videos as well. There's a guy in there I commented a couple of times too. His name's Tank Ferret. He's been around for a day or two.
I know Tank Ferret's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's that. Were you in the comments when I did that? I saw my thumbnail, and you got to know, me and Gail, it's our day off, and we were watching a movie, and we're old, and I kind of was napping. I come down. Okay, I'm gonna check our see what our monthly was for our thing. I come up. Evil Black Cat is like, I don't know what this is all about, and it's got my avatar there. I just showed the thumbnail, and I go in, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he told. They explained it and everything. I thought that was actually kind of funny and kind of fun there, so it's okay. So yeah, we're going to go through this, and we're going to take exactly however much time we have to, but we're not going to be here forever. I am willing to yeah, forever.
We will revisit the thing if we haven't finished it by the end of the hour or so.
It'll be like tomorrow at 8 before we do the cover rankings, the next day at 8 until we get through this, because I really I saw later parts I really want to talk about as well. So there we go. This is old school, kids. Unfortunately, what we started was taken over by Ethan Van Sciver, and it became it's in the title, when culture war it became on the thumbnail anyway, when it became blood sports, when it became people sniping at each other rather than talking about what they love or talking about
when it became Ethan trying to treat the industry as a shadow industry and be essentially the mafioso head of it.
When we first started, it was more about trying to protect the thing we love, and then it just became let's call each other names and all that kind of stuff. So it really went south. Let me make sure the sound is on here.
Yep.
Share screen. Also share our tab audio. Definitely did. Okay, when the culture. There you go. And I was gonna do, by the way, a Zach or Richard video. It's just I was having too much fun hanging out with my wife, so yeah.
If I would have known that, I would have brought some birthday cake.
What?
You said Zach.
Oh, is it Zach's birthday? Is this his birthday? Okay, well, happy birthday to actual Zach. Yeah.
No.
All right. Oh, what? The birthday clowns. Okay, I get where you're going. Sometimes you have to walk around the neighborhood for me to get what you're talking about, I guess.
Anyway, moving into the breach once more. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me back it up just to the beginning here. Okay, here we go.
Much like the snowflake in Dr. Seuss's book, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, there exists in the tiny parts of the internet an independent comic book movement that tried to be a movement, but became something entirely different. It was a place meant for customers to find respect and validation, for masculinity to thrive, and for new creative minds to bring out fresh new stories to those customers.
I'm not sure how much masculinity weighed in here, to be honest with you, but okay.
That it was all pretend. Even more so is the reality.
Yeah, hold on. It's saying somebody named Daniel Lawless in the beginning days of Comicsgate, the main criticism was that beside a few comics such as Cyber Frog Graveyard, dude, that's not the beginning of fucking Comicsgate, man.
Yeah, you're about 3 years too late on that one, my friend.
The best jokes, Dark Admiral is reminding us, are the ones you have to explain. So anyway, it goes on. A few other CG books were rather low amateur quality, unprofessional level. Dude, you're like, he's way too late.
Yeah,
that was not OG CG. Today
you're putting the starting line at the end.
Let me finish.
Basically,
Godlike Helifev. It's just talking about welcome to 3 years in.
That there exist attempts to rewrite its history in a manner Joseph Stalin would find impressive. To say that such a movement began with criticism of its own indie books being of low quality, with the exception of those produced by pros who came into the movement later on, while ignoring its grassroots beginnings by customers and YouTube critics, would be, to put it lightly, disingenuous.
Uh,
Therefore,
Speaking of disingenuous, it's disingenuous to say that Comicsgate started with producing indie books. That was
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that was a late addition to the argument of, if you think making comics is so easy, why don't you do it? But originally, the point of Comicsgate,
I didn't even notice you said that there, MARANYA.
But,
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
let's get to it.
One of the fundamental motives of original Comicsgate was, we want our characters and the world building of the big two to be better and respected. But anyway, moving on. Sorry.
it's important to document this little phenomena that, for a time, reinvigorated comic book fans looking for an alternative to a comic book industry that was being infected with alt-left brain rot, unnecessary race swaps, gender swaps, and tons of forced LGBTQ propaganda. This is the story of an independent comic book movement that saw tons of infighting among customers, creators, and then with each other. A story of unfulfilled potential, of fatherless behavior gone completely unchecked. This is the story of Comicsgate, when the culture war hit those pretty little pictures.
Okay. Not a horrible beginning.
Major properties. Like Tony Stark's been replaced by like a 13-year-old black lesbian girl.
Okay, here's one of the biggest problems we ran into. This is the stream that doesn't end, it goes on. This is one of the biggest problems we ran into as a movement. What we wanted to do was make sure the characters we loved were being protected.
And she was a lesbian.
Well, she's not a lesbian, and black has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, every time anybody talked about Riri, it didn't matter. They could have replaced them with a white girl, an Asian girl, or whatever. It wasn't about the race. It was about the replacement. Unfortunately, because people would say, oh, yeah, he got replaced by a 15-year-old black girl. The only thing anybody heard was, we don't like the fact that he got replaced by a black girl, instead of, we don't like that he got replaced.
Imprecise rhetoric resulted in an optics fail, is the long and the short of it.
Okay,
what we were trying to say, I think the majority of us, or at least the ones that I'm willing to be charitable to, was the character, the world building, and the canon are being actively destroyed from the inside out. And that is the problem. And the reason, we should have phrased it that way, because what they did was they used other people's identities as a human shield for, let's burn comics as an industry to the ground.
All right.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Let's go. Yep.
But she's like smarter than Tony Stark, and so that's weird.
Yeah.
And they made Captain America a Nazi, and that really bothered people.
I mean,
and the Hulk's
never bothered me, not once. Love that storyline.
the Hulk's Asian now.
Secret Empire.
I think what I hear from most of these guys is, if you create these characters and stop trying to put them in the existing popular properties, but you just made new stories that were good, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
And maybe they're lying, but that seems to be the mantra. And I don't know, for what it's worth, I tend to believe them.
Why do SJW Marvel Girl heroes all have the same personalities? Because they're Mary Sue's. I can answer that question right now.
A lot of the terminology in this video are probably going to be foreign to some of you, so allow me to define words as they appear in this presentation. A Mary Sue is a fictional female character who is best at everything, never fails, and never ever needs a man for anything. To illustrate this point, Rey Palpatine from Disney's expensive Star Wars fan fiction trilogy has always been demonstrated to be good at everything, never needing a man, and with no discernible personality or character traits that can be defined as relatable. In contrast, someone like Ellen Ripley was depicted as submitting to Corporal Hicks' experience and authority in the movie Aliens. She is never depicted as being good at everything, never disrespecting men, and whose challenges were very relatable.
Hi. I
feel like kind of a fifth wheel around here. Is there anything I can do?
I know.
Another aspect of Mary Sue's that I feel like it's worth touching upon is that the universe of the story goes out of its way to bend over backwards to make them right, even if they're in the wrong or mistaken about something.
Yeah.
Because that is the
Well, I can
true
drive that loader.
terminal
comics
Mary
world,
Sue syndrome, I guess, is when the
characters
world
like
of the
Captain
story
Marvel,
bends over backwards.
Ironheart were the faces of the Mary Sue trope.
There's no reason why American comics should be that way. And it didn't ever used to be that way. Back in the Golden Age, comics was huge. Even in the Silver Age, comics was still huge. All the way up through the Copper Age and so on, comics was a major force in America. The only reason it isn't now as big as it once was is frankly due to a lack of synergy between the comics and the movies. Because the movies can and should have acted as the largest possible marketing scheme for the American comic book industry possible. The problem is that right around the time that comic culture got huge because of, or perhaps, the circumstances that led to the movies being big led to comics also being big. Because geekery...
I want to point out that even back then, I'm trying to get you to find the period and not the.
I'm just happy I actually got a hipster sense. I got significantly referenced here. I almost never get talked about.
I know.
I feel internet famous for once.
Inception.
I was like, look at my head down, and all of a sudden, like, Dalton stops talking. I'm like, you told me to be quiet. He starts talking again, and I realize it's a video.
I almost paused so he could continue talking. I was actually fooled a little bit too there.
And I actually commentators and activists tried to institutionally capture basically every popular form of art form or geekery they could. And that led to a massive downgrade in quality, which led to comics no longer mattering.
I love you, Dalton. I love you. You have a trope, though. It's your tendency to say the car is blue and that is a blue car.
I would like to point out that the person making this video apparently thought that my commentary was worth it enough to not edit me out.
Okay, there you go.
Hyperfixate. So there.
Riri didn't show up to 2016, so she was not a replacement for the movies whatsoever, as Marani points out.
Oh, there you go. Okay, let's that's uncanny, says Joe. yeah. Hey, you know what? We joke about. We've been friends forever and a day.
We have,
and we all joke about the silly things that everybody does and their little things. Eric's ability to pull whatever comic book you're talking about out of his couch. Zachary is not actually a racist, but because he made that mistake, or the fact that I'm going to tear the E off of every comic book because I did that once. We do bust each other's nuts. Because by the way, that was a mistake I made too. Instead of saying, we're just busting balls, I said, we're busting nuts. And boom, so yeah.
Phrasing.
Whenever someone goes E, I'm like, there's the missing E's.
Yeah, exactly. All righty, so let's get back to it. Even though there are some differences, we really do talk about the same stuff. It's like we are creating a brand new skeptic community. Only ours centers on comic books. Okay, this is from the video I made that pointed out that we were all the same. This is why I have said, and some people challenge me on it. I say I'm the one that brought Comicsgate together. I didn't create their channels. There was no leader, and there was obviously a view leader, and that's DNC or Richard Meyer. You guys know him as your boy Zach. But this is the video that brought us together right here. Let's first talk about diversity and comics. And he is the one with the thumbnails where he's tearing up his comics. I saw on Twitter somebody insulted him. I'm thinking, come on, he made $30-40 on this video, and somebody's talking about how it's stupid to tear up a comic. If it makes $40 off of a $4 comic, then good job, you, diversity. And then we have Moneybags Cummings, who actually paid somebody to draw him. I don't know if they're paying. I just was kidding around right there. The captain here is probably the boldest of the three of us, easily. And he swears like a sailor, which coincidentally he was. check out Captain Frugal. He does a good job on his channel. He dresses like Captain America and he sounds like Stephen King. Oh, by the way, I love the fact that he included Captain Frugal in this. Give him a shout out. If you haven't checked out his channel, please go see it. He really is a good guy.
I mean, he clearly has done his homework, considering that almost nobody ever mentions me, and I got a whole ass segment there.
Yeah, I did ask him. I said, how many freaking live streams did you have to go through? And he says he spent the last week going through all of our CG things.
Also, if you want to see a guy who ranks the books of the week, by a point decimal system, and has the loosely papers shaking in the background as he gets his notes out, that's Frugal. He also has the bad dad joke of the day.
There you go. Yeah, good guy. Yeah, so a little bit about that. I mentioned how Captain Cummings was the boldest of us at the time. It's because he would go like I'd never started an argument. Like I never went, hey, look, mother, and then went after somebody. That was Captain Frugal. Not Frugal. That was Captain Cummings.
I was gonna say Frugal, huh? That's his guy.
But the thing is, we used to get into argument. We all had Twitter, same as Sports Ball and Comics, where we would talk. It was he, myself, Diversity in Comics, and Diversity and Comics, by the way, not in. And Doug, we all had his thing, and we were considered the Four Horsemen. That's what we were called. We did not come up with that name ourselves. And sometimes Captain Cummings was just always looking for a fight. And I told him, I said, I will be around long after you leave, long after you decide that you've had enough. I will be here. Because he kept calling me a pussy and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just thought that he was always looking for a fight. And by the way, I'm here.
Yes. Receipts. The prophecy has come true, etc.
Yep.
This collective would soon be given the name Comicsgate. Reviews of bad comics would end with those books being ripped apart. Literally.
Captain Cummings was probably the first, there you go, I would say official. I came in, Doug was doing his thing. I actually said, hey guys, do you know anybody else?
You notice some things, that was going on. You're like, well, it's not every book. And then you started to see it like happening in the books that I liked reading. And then it just, so I started branching out and reading more books and, picking up this one and picking up that one. You were like, wow, it seems to affected like the majority of the books going on, And so I just started talking about it and people responded to it. And I was like, maybe I'm actually onto something,
If Zoe Quinn was the face that ignited the Gamergate movement, Heather Antos could arguably be the one that begat Comicsgate. It's
what? That's a fair parallel. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well,
here it is. Okay, so let me clear something up. She was not the trigger to create Comicsgate. She was what made it's like the actor that's been around for a while. Maybe some people like him, but then he does that one movie or that one TV show and he blows up. This situation right here made Comicsgate huge.
It was the rallying cry.
Yeah, Heather Antos was in no way, shape, or form why we created it. It was just like I said, this picture here,
the inciting incident, kind of.
Yeah, and I remember getting into arguments with fans, getting into arguments with comic book creators. One thing that I will always never forget is what's his name? Guy who created Punisher. Starts with a G.
Jerry Conway.
Jerry Conway. I talked to him and he was talking about, well, women were treated so horribly in the past. I'm like, you are the fucking past.
Yeah,
why
you
didn't
were
you say
there.
something 40
What did
years
you do
ago?
about it?
You're just damning yourself on that one.
If they were treated so badly, why were they working in comics?
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's the editor for Marvel Comics.
Oh, another thing is okay. So I asked when this came up. Apparently, two guys. What is it called when you take it over to your own channel and talk about it?
EFAP?
No. There was something in the tweets and all that kind of stuff. There used to be a name.
Retweets?
Reply.
yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
so two guys did this. They didn't comment on the tweet itself. They took it to their page and they put it on there and they started commenting. And it was like
Retweeting is what's
it
called.
was like, wow, that's a lot of ugliness here. And then they started talking about how the one in front is really full and all that kind of stuff. And then they started talking about, and by the way, I don't see it. I mean, I guess the least attractive one would be the one in the back because it looks like she's not wearing makeup, doesn't have her hair all poofed up. But there's no ugly girl here. What are they talking about? But anyway, I when this was going, I said, hey, so what's going on? Why are people yelling about this picture? Just by asking that, quote tweeting. Just by asking that, I got attacked. I said, all I'm saying is, where's the proof? I just want the proof of all this thing that you're throwing out there.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu back in Gamergate days.
Guy or girl, you start attacking someone's looks and calling them ugly, you've lost the argument. Now you're doing personal attacks.
Well, yeah, it's an ad hominem, and it is the quintessential of like anti-intellectual arguments.
Yeah, and like I said, I never got why they were talking about, these girls are so ugly.
It's about bullying and getting likes and get a pet.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, let's hit the play.
Comics.
Yep.
Posted a selfie of herself and the female staff at Marvel with milkshakes in their hands. The comic industry side could not understand the reasoning behind the outcry over that photo. Depicted were young, cute-looking women who were behind some of the most atrocious, misandrist, left-leaning extremist ideology in their comics. Fans and readers who came to read the good guy beating the bad guy instead got Lady Thor, Riri Williams, Gay Iceman, and a Spider-Man with a failed marriage. Instead of acknowledging how bad the books were and how terrible sales were leading to comic book shops closing, the perpetrators celebrated with glasses of milkshakes.
Okay, so I'm going to be defending them here. According to what they were saying, they went out as the ladies went out as a girls' trip, and they were said that they were celebrating Flo Steinberg, who was Stan Lee's assistant, and she also was the one who wrote a lot of the fan letters when the books first started, and that's their point. Now, this picture, I'm going to defend her a little bit here. This picture has nothing to do with their work on page. You want to talk about the work on page, talk about the work on page. That's not what got everybody up in arms. What got everybody up in arms was the Heather looks effable and everybody else doesn't and all that kind of stuff. That comment was what really started it. And that blew up. And I'm telling you right now, this thing lasted 24 hours. And I was dumb enough to be on Twitter for damn near 18 of those 24 hours.
Milkshake Day was a thing, folks.
It was a huge battle of words back in the day.
Signaling how unqualified they were in writing books that appealed to the targeted demographic.
When Marvel, DC, and other SJW comic writers...
Okay, I was once compared to this guy, Mundane Matt. I don't see it other than that we're both fat and wear glasses.
Conspired to harass a critic at Comic-Con. Yeah, go figure on this one. I was shocked when I heard this. People have been asking me to cover this all week. And I saw the video from Diversity in Comics about this, and I'm just kind of blown away because holy crap, he has really pissed some people off, man. And that to me is hysterical.
Okay, sorry, I'm stopping every time.
I'll just share real quickly. I can see the resemblance a little bit, nothing bad about it though.
I will add that Matt Jarbo used to be, or he used to call himself Mundane Matt. He doesn't anymore. He used to be a lot better as a content creator than he is now.
But here's the thing, though. I don't know the rest of that guy's content, so I don't know what his beliefs are, what he said and stuff. I'm just saying that clip alone, but that's a stretch. They'll say that, it's E right there. Same thing. It's like,
right.
Not really. I mean, this reacting something. I'll just say this one thing. He has a nicer microphone. sounds
true.
better.
That is true. Yeah. Well, mine broke, by the way.
He also had like 100 times the subscriber count that he did even back in the day. So there's that.
Yeah, that's making me feel better. The fact that we're watching a video that's getting 80 views, and I know we don't have that right now. Okay, so MARANYA said the claim was honoring Flo was way later. There was no mention in the beginning. Antos was hot back then, says Jay. She was bad.
She was actually decent.
Yeah. People have said it was the New York Comic-Con. Wrong. It was the one in Baltimore where Wade wanted. Okay, I'm blocked by Wade. I cannot in any way, shape, or form have any interaction with Wade on any social media because
he went full Steve Shives.
Well, so here's what he did. Hold on. Here's what he did. On Twitter, Mark Wade wrote this whole thing about he was going to protect black people. And I said, so you're the white savior? No, that's not what I'm saying. I said, what do you mean that's not what you're saying? And I just took his quotes. I made a video about it. It's somewhere around here. Yeah. But I took his quotes and it was all like black people are marginalized and as a white man, I feel obligated. I need to step up and I need to speak for the marginalized black man. And it was all
that implies that they can't speak for themselves.
So so I pointed this out and he blocked me here. And then what they're talking about here, there was on Facebook, he did this whole, and if you see diversity in comics, if you see Richard Meyer, you bring him to me. And I was thinking, hold on.
End? Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. Are you saying that you want people to say, hey, Rich, why don't you go talk to Mark Wade? He wants to talk to you. Are you saying physically and bring him to me? Because somebody's going to get hurt because this is left open to interpretation. He goes, I'm not calling for violence. I said, yeah, you kind of are, dude. Because if somebody, unless you make a distinction, there's going to be somebody who's going to see Richard and think, okay, we need, probably not because there's like over 6 feet tall, but there might be somebody who will want to physically drag him to Mark Wade. I said, if that happens, boom, it's all due to your words. And he said, no, and blocked me.
And if enough people do it, it doesn't matter that he's so much more built than them. If it's an angry mob, it's an angry mob.
I just got here. I have no idea. We're doing an EFAP on a video there, Tony Hayes. Oh, by the way, to answer your question, I was going to send an email to you, but it was 106 before shipping. All right. Yeah, wasn't New York City the one? Okay, there we go.
New York.
Is White Savior a real? Sorry, missed it. Is White Savior a real comic book character? But no, it needs to be. Tony, someone made a video. Okay, there we go. He's explaining it. All
right. Well, that's what we're talking about. You'll learn.
There you go. And thank you. I am a good looking. Wade went full Maxine Waters. If you see Myers in a restaurant,
cool.
Yeah,
exactly. Because this is one dude who has a YouTube channel that has really triggered a number of comics writers. So to that, you have to almost give the dude props. So it says here, a secret Facebook group of DC, Marvel, Image writers, or Image Comics and other writers, including B. Clay Moore, Isaac Goodhart, Kelly Thompson, and Taylor Esposito, revealed that some of the comic industry's top talent were plotting to harass the creator of the YouTube channel Diversity in Comics due to his critical reviews that exposes the comics industry's SJW agenda to the public. Here's the thing. A lot of us talk about how there's SJW content in comics and how there's a lot of it that is just so stupid. Like case in point, Thor's grandfather and the whole unsolicited opinions on Israel comment that made literally no sense. And still a year plus later doesn't make any damn sense. But that's the kind of stuff that we talk about when we make fun of them pushing Mockingbird's Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda.
Mark Wade and Richard C. Meyer attempted a phone call that was described by both as unproductive. Mark Wade was not done in his targeted harassment of Meyer.
I love women's revenge films or women in prison films.
So these
Lady, what is it? Lady Blood. What's that Japanese one or Korean? I highly recommend it.
Oh, Lady Snowblood?
Lady Snowblood. Absolutely one of the greatest women revenge films of all time.
Well, for good reason, because that's how Kill Bill was made.
Well, there you go.
SJW creeps have ruined comics. Sales are pathetic. under 18,000 for flagship characters, under 10,000 for new comics, like on their 3rd to 6th issue, selling under 10,000 from Marvel. And it's done that because they hate the fans. They're antagonistic towards the fans on Twitter, and it's not just their political. It's one political voice, one political stance you see over and over.
Would you please?
Okay, so I'm gonna disagree with them a little bit here. I don't think
Birthday clone.
Okay, thank you. I don't think that, and we hear it all the time. I even put it in my titles because it sells. Marvel hates fans. I honestly, I've had a big attitude adjustment when it came to Marvel. I used to tell people there's good stuff out there. Go check out DC. There's good stuff out there. Here's the books, blah, 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 blah. This is RDV's place now. But one thing I disagree with is I don't think they hate fans. I don't think they consider fans at all. That is my modern day position on modern day comic writers and artists. I don't think they even consider the fans. What they want to do, in spite of sales or lack of sales or whatever, is exactly what they're going to do, no matter what.
I disagree with you slightly, and that's only because we know there are cases where they went out of their way to spite the fans.
Okay.
And that level of spite does not come from indifference or ignorance. It comes from the desire to spite.
Okay. Let's go.
Politics out of my comic books. I'm like, what comic books are you reading?
Kelly Sue DeConnick was another feminist writer for DC Comics and also at war with comic book fans. She uttered the now infamous words that signal Comicsgate's mission.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Challenge
Problem
accepted.
solved. You don't like my Twitter feed? Unfollow me. Magic.
Now,
Challenge accepted.
Going ahead.
No, I was just responding to the infamous quote. You don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Challenge accepted. We didn't.
One thing if he continued the quote, I remember this very well. If he continued the quote, it would talk about how politics have been in comics forever and a day. Now, this has never been, in my opinion, a strong argument on their point, because all you got to do is look and go, yeah, and a lot of the people who are complaining about comics are my age, 40, 50. I've been reading comic books for literally now 50 years. So why am I so up in arms, even though I recognize politics and comics decades ago? It's because it's not what it's about, it's how it's about it. And the politics used to be violence is bad. Now it's you're a bad person for being violent. It's pointing at people right now. That is the problem with them. It's
they also used to be philosophical thought experiments where the correct answer wasn't yet decided, whereas now it is unilaterally, we have discovered the correct answer, and if you disagree with that correct answer, then you are necessarily evil.
There you go. All right. If I remember correctly, there were really just two words that got you into this originally, and those two words would be Dan and Slot.
Yeah, I mean, if you went way back into my blog, back to around 2010, maybe even a little earlier than that, losing track of time. But I started reviewing Amazing Spider-Man and really ticked off Dan Slott. And then he started calling me a right-wing lunatic and a nutcase and all of this sort of stuff. And so the more that he did that to me, then I was like, let me look into this guy. And then I started looking into it. And then he was going off on anyone who believed in the Second Amendment.
He went after Frugal.
Yeah,
you remember that?
I met Frugal in the Marvel message boards because they banned me. So basically what Dan Slott would do, and all these other guys that were in that circle and the editors and stuff like that, is everywhere I would go, Dan would complain about me, and then the moderators would ban me, and they would kick me off. And then even on places like Comic Vine, I had one of the moderators like, listen, dude, you didn't even break any rules, but we got this guy. We try to protect him from himself, but he's like crazy basically, and you're just causing too much problem. You got to go. I had to go, even though I wasn't breaking any rules.
The crazy guy gets to stay, but you have to go.
That was what kind of like got me down the road. And then I started looking into like Joey Q and Mark Wade and all these sorts of guys. And then I was like, wait, you know, I think it was Mark Wade. They were going off on Obamacare, and if you didn't agree with them on Obamacare, then you were like the devil and all this. I'm like, all these people are just rabid, crazy, like ideologues. And like, so then I just started writing on it because I was working both before at the Heritage Foundation, conservative nonprofit, and then ultimately for the Washington Times, which is, you know, the editorial board is right-leaning or whatever. So it was all in my wheelhouse. And that's where and then eventually I was just like, well, I want to reach more people. Let me go to YouTube. Let me try that out. And that's where I met Captain Cummings, and then ultimately you and Richard. And then we were all in our little DM room for like 6 months or whatever it was.
Okay. The thing that destroyed our DM room was my brother. My brother was part of the channel at the time, Chef Jack. He does video game reviews now. And he was mad at Captain Cummings, except Jack hit that memory problem way earlier than I did, where you're thinking one thing and you say another, and he goes, so diversity in comics, blah, blah, diversity in comics, blah, blah. And
you tagged the wrong person, and now I'm in crap.
And all of a sudden I'm waking, like my phone was ring, 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 ring. I don't do notifications anymore because it woke me up. Okay, what the hell's going on? But Jack blew us the up because at that point, I mean, I had never been canceled before, and that actually was the day. That's where everybody was attacking me because it wasn't Jack who attacked DNC at the time in everybody's mind. It was me. You know, I'm the one that was there the most, and I'm the one that people watched a lot of the videos, although everybody watches Jack Kirby video. So it was, why did Englentine say all this about DNC? Englentine didn't say shit.
Yep. To be fair, it happens on the other. It happens on the other side of it too, where I would say something and you would get crap for it, and I apologize for those times when that happened, because that did happen more than it should.
By the way, I do appreciate the return of Slotto Blocktavius. T-shirts are on sale on Teespring. If I could get to the link really quick, I'd share it out. But there are actually Slotto Blocktavius T-shirts. I miss Weaponized Nerd Rage drama about Slotto. Yeah, Weaponized. He's on a different platform doing his thing. And Tony, I'll send you the total and with shipping. Okay.
Comics Division's another one that I missed. I wish we were still more involved there. But
well, yeah, me too. He joined Gary's crew. He's a lot bigger now, doing actual politics rather than geek news and all that kind of stuff. But he's doing his thing. The thing is I consider them friends, and I will always. I met Doug and Tim Lim. They came. They went over to Disney, and I met him there and hung out with him for the day. It was the day that Stan Lee died, by the way. And
bittersweet much.
Yeah, they were really, really nice people. Doug said Tim was going off with his wife, and Doug says, "Well, you want to hang out, have some, go out to dinner or something?" He squeezed my ass, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." That part did not happen, but he did say, "Hey, let's go grab a bite," and he actually bought me dinner at a very nice steak restaurant. It was really cool of him, and it was really nice to have a chat with him as well. You know, just talk about stuff. I do consider Doug a friend. I do consider Tim a friend. I do not give up on friends easily. I do believe he's a really good guy. I remember I also said, hey, thank you for your service and all that kind of stuff, because he was in the military. You see, he's got the Army shirt, and he really made a point. And this is how you know Doug is an honorable guy. He made a point to tell me that he didn't see combat, that he was behind the scene, which I don't think that's bad at all. My dad was in Vietnam, and he never understood why people put down those who worked backstage.
But it means that
Let me
he.
finish.
Sorry, go ahead.
My father always said I couldn't do what I did if it wasn't for people like Doug doing what he did. So, I thought that was an incredibly honorable thing to do. But anyway,
yeah, it tells you that he's not even hypothetically okay with the concept of stolen valor, and good for him.
Exactly. Okay, let's go on.
The good times. There was good times.
Another name in the early CG movement was Tim Lim, who was at war with the Mary Sue, critiquing it for hiring Mags Visaggio as Larry Hama's replacement on G.I. Joe at IDW.
Okay, that was funny.
This led to the Mary Sue accusing Lim of being a white supremacist. Quite the feat for a man who was Chinese. In early 2018, DC Comics artist Ethan Van Sciver was dragged into a malicious campaign against him by industry artist Tim Doyle. Soon, a writer for The Atlantic joined in and announced he will be writing an article linking Ethan to a harassment campaign.
This article, it's actually a blog. It's a gigantic 4-part blog written by this man, Alfred Alfie Norris, who is or used to be a high-powered lawyer from Alabama. I don't believe he is anymore. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. But he retains the skills of a lawyer, and he has pulled together this incredible narrative from disparate threads of his encounters with me and people on my Facebook page. Alfie joined in. It was worse than the usual internet argument. They made insulting comments and personal attacks that were not confined to Van Sciver's page. They sent vulgar, harassing messages to personal accounts, and the barrage was relentless. Is that a link? No, that's not a link, so that's not proof. Unfortunately, Alfie, I do have some proof. So let's talk about the tone of my page. Occasionally...
He's so monotone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I sorry about that. He's so
It's the auditory equivalent of Ambien.
Yeah,
it would get out of hand.
Oh
and
my
I would have to
gosh.
step in
Yeah.
and straighten things out. And it often...
Malin started gaining a new fan base who were tired of being...
Okay, I feel like I should go back to it. Okay, here we go. Sorry about
personal
that.
attacks that were not confined to Van Sciver's page. They sent vulgar,
Sorry about
harassing
this, guys.
messages to personal accounts, and the barrage was relentless. Is that a link?
Okay, so I do remember
That's not a
this.
link, so that it's not proof.
I'll just start whistling while EVS talks,
Unfortunately, Alfie,
which, by the way,
I
I
do
did
have some
because he
proof.
was ranting
So,
during the debate,
let's
and I
talk
started
about the tone of my
whistling a little
page.
bit.
Occasionally,
But during this point, I actually
get out
did a
of
video
hand, and I would
defending
have to
him
step in
because
and
he
straighten
drew a
things
book
out.
of villains with
And it often got
Sinestro, and he
out
drew
of hand
Sinestro to look like
because of this
Hitler, which he
gentleman.
did, by the way, in the comic.
EVS was faced with some vile and near pornographic vitriol on his Facebook page. Jon Malin became vocal about the double standards of the comic industry's racism. He was well known for his run on cable. Malin started gaining a new fan base who were tired of being called racist and sexist by, racist and sexist women and their perverted male feminist simps in the comic industry. However, Malin early on didn't ingratiate himself with the early Comicsgaters.
Is he going to do it?
Claymore was the guy we were interviewing, and we were trying to make him understand that we don't.
Oh, hold on. I got to pause right here real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, the debut of Dalton. That's what this is. Okay, so we were supposed to debut comics. What was it? Comic Book Thunderdome. This was a game show that we were playing where two comic book fans would get together and argue a point. Who's the better Robin? Who's got the best ass in comics? That whatever topic we could come up with. And Dalton was set to play, and Jon Malin came on to say a couple of words. I said, "Yeah, you can come on." This was the very first time Dalton was on YouTube here.
We want the IPs to be well handled. The and B. Claymore live stream before that, but so okay. Jon Malin comes on to yell at E after we do this review, after we do this interview with B. Claymore, in which I was mostly the one holding B. Claymore's feet to the fire on why shouldn't we try to make RIPs good again.
He went after me. He went after me because I wasn't
adversarial enough.
Yeah, I should have pushed him on this. I was like, I don't know this shit. Why do you think? And I told him, first of all, don't, you come on my video channel, you're yelling at me. I don't know your life.
But come to find out, I was, riding high off of this because, at that point, nobody knew much about Jon Malin as a person. We just knew him because he was a comic book creator or influencer. Come to find out, though, this person who was so harsh on E for not holding B. Claymore's feet to the fire and was gassing me up because I was the only one who was adversarial enough, according to him. Come to find out, when EVS showed up, Jon Malin fell right in line and became a bootlicker in the space of like 2 seconds.
It wouldn't be long until Richard.
That was very well put, sir.
Yeah. Also, thank you for it. And yes, I'm being a little bit egotistical here, but I'm allowed. Thank you for at least acknowledging my little role in this particular drama, because I don't think I've ever gotten, even when I've said things that have been controversial, it's E who gets crap for the controversial shit that I say.
Hey,
it's nice to finally be seen for once and to get kind of the same length of clip as people like your boy Zach and EVS. So fair enough, sir. Thank you for acknowledging that I exist. It's nice to finally be recognized.
Hello to the princess of I Love Comics. How are you doing, Ash? I cannot wait to see you. We're going to pick her up next Monday. So I am very jazzed that my daughter is coming home, and incredibly excited. All righty, and we are fixing up the basement, and we're gonna throw a blanket down in the dry spot so she can have a place to sleep. All righty, but hello, hon. We're watching a video about us, and we're doing a little bit of a commentary. All right.
Richie Meyer and Jon Malin would collaborate on their first comic book, Jawbreakers.
Comicsgate has gotten so huge, which is a good thing. As far as I'm concerned, we have defeated the SJWs because there is now a business model that is viable for people that don't want to deal with all that sort of junk.
Not surprisingly, the industry bigots couldn't handle its success. It left them reeling, as a matter of fact. Tim Doyle in particular was left shaken, and he had no other recourse but to go after Meyer's family. Your boy Zach took legal action against Doyle as a result and neutered the MPC. There was a camaraderie going on with all who identified as Comicsgate. The critics sector who pointed out the bad books included Captain Cummings, Yellow Flash, your boy Zach, and England Team. The creator side included Ethan Van Sciver, Jon Malin, Tim Lim, Doug Ernst, and your boy Zach. During this time, I began drawing my first graphic novel, Road Warrior Drake. I was not aware of Comicsgate at the time, but I did listen to Ethan Van Sciver's Star Wars video, as well as Yellow Flash, Diversity in Comics, and That Umbrella Guy with their comic book reviews. The Last Jedi was still fresh in the minds of many people and launched the YouTube careers of many. But it was a trailer from the Thundercats Roar cartoon, a remake done in the style of the simplistic Cal art style, that motivated me to do my own comic, to bring back a character I created in junior high school, and make that character the mascot for the next step in my creative endeavor.
You got to put it in the plug, right? Yellow Flash is such a parasite. We've got a Yellow Flash story. Hold on.
I had no plans to publish or promote it.
I wonder if they'll talk about the story.
I was going to make this book. I was at work drawing it, unbeknownst to me the drama that would unfold in Comicsgate. Tim Lin had drawn and completed his first book, Thump, written by Mark Pellegrini.
Sold at the auction for $8.
He was also tasked with drawing Cash Grab, which was supposed to have been written by Cecil and Nurkish, but there were signs of division when EVS and Ernst had a disagreement over alleged gatekeeping.
So it was literally a thing where in the DM room, in the Comicsgate Live or whatever it was called at the time, Comicsgate Green Room, there was a debate about the whole gatekeeper type stuff. We all wanted to handle it within the DM room. And I wasn't the only one there. Weaponized Nerd Rage was there. Yellow Flash was there. I believe that Umbrella guy was there. Pretty much anyone you could think of from those days back in the day. This was all something that everyone wanted to deal with in the actual green room. And it was Ethan who wanted to do it on a live stream. And it would be the very first Comicsgate live stream. And he was like, he literally just said, like, don't talk about this, any of you guys. We're going to do this in like 3 or 4 days or whatever it would be. And it would.
Okay, this is the beginning of the destruction of OGCG. When we started, it was 4 guys, and that quickly blew up to be quite a few, doing their own thing. What ended up happening was, okay, now we're going to do a Comicsgate Live. Now we are saying forever and a day from now on, this is Comicsgate. And when you did that, somebody has to deliberate. Somebody has to be at the forefront. And
Ethan elected himself.
Ethan elected himself, and he started calling himself King of Comics. When we were just a bunch of people, it was about comics. It was about the characters. Whether it was a book that people were making independently, or whether it was the characters we were trying to protect, it was about the books.
Yeah.
As soon as it
fixing the big two, as opposed to creating our own stuff.
As soon as it became Comicsgate Live, it became about Ethan. Became about Jon Malin. It came about Doug Ernst, myself, whomever was talking at the time. It
became let the industry burn so we can replace it.
And then as it went, it stopped being about the fans and it started being about the comic book creator.
Bone to pick with Ethan, or allegedly, I don't know if he did or not, whatever, because it's I'm hearing his hearsay, whatever, because I didn't watch the video. But if he is going around calling himself the King of Comics,
he was.
You're not. Jeff Johns is.
Well, he was calling himself the King of Comicsgate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be like an explosion of entertainment, because all of this would be revealed, and because we're all adults here, we're going to be able to hash it out on the stream, but the actual stream itself will be exploding with, cool entertainment.
He wanted the Jerry Springer style drama.
Blah, 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 blah. So he set it up. He knew exactly what we were going to talk about. He knew exactly where everybody stood, and he didn't know exactly what we were going to say, but he knew the general gist of our positions. Edwin's here. He says, yes, correct. Ethan wanted to make YouTube fodder out of it. Exactly.
Yep.
I don't want this. I'm just doing my Cyberfrog book. I'm talking about Star Wars to my audience. I can be a big help to people, or I can just be out of here, because I do make an effort. I have a weekly Comicsgate show in which I try to introduce people like Captain Cummings, Weaponized Nerd Rage.
Bullshit. At this point in time, Ethan was the new guy.
Yep.
He didn't have to introduce Captain Cummings. Captain Cummings was well known.
Was already established. Yep.
Yeah, he didn't have to introduce Weaponized Nerd Rage. Weaponized Nerd Rage was well known from the live stream he was on all the time. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it's just he was. Even Ethan, by the way, started on this one. But the thing is this is part of the lie that Ethan told a lot of viewers, and mind you, he got a lot of viewers right away. He's Ethan Van Sciver. He's the guy that drew the Blackest Night. Yep. So
to make a topical reference, Ethan was doing exactly what Nigel Farage is doing over in the UK to Rupert Lowe, basically.
Okay, I gotta take my licks. Here you go. Maranya says EVS started out on this channel. It was his first live stream. You did this, T. Yes, I guess so. I guess that was me. That's my contribution to society here. There you go. Yep. Okay, so let's.
You were the one who let the barbarian through the Roman gate. Dang you!
Wait, who let the dogs out?
Yep, I let the wildlings through the black, the castle black. All right, here we go.
More like he let
some of
the
biggest
big bad wolf
Comicsgaters,
in,
I
but
put them on every single weekend to an audience of, or every single week to an audience of 1,500 plus, sometimes 2,000 subscribers, 2,000 viewers to get their channels blown up. I talk about them. I let them promote themselves. I make them seem important. I talk to them deferentially. This is
part of Ethan's arrogance. Did you notice? I make them seem important because they are on my show, which
because he's the arbiter of importance now. Yeah,
this is some fucking
never
Julius
trust the
Caesar shit.
never trust the person who
this
constantly goes on about how humble they are. It's a kind of shadow disease.
Right, and you can never be more humbled than I am.
When the Julius Caesar analogy made its debut, and the seeds were laid for the creation of the fan group War Campaign.
Oh,
likening yourself to Julius Caesar, saying, I don't need to do this, I don't need to promote.
I don't. I got a lot of people who I don't know who are stabbing me in the back. A lot of people who I don't know who are upset with me and who are putting knives in my back and starting trouble.
Lives when with the lives
I'm sorry,
in.
that sounds egocentric. That's what it feels like. I've got people who I try to help, people who I try to lift up. And this is the inevitable result. I would love to know what Captain Cummings' problem is.
We might just have.
So, by the way, when we did do the debate, I was getting messages, and some of those messages were from people who, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I did during the debate when Ethan would just not shut the. Anyway, I was getting messages from people. Hey, man, you got to bring up War Campaign. They are harassing people. They're doing all this. They're doing all that. I ended up actually inviting the War Campaign onto my channel and having a debate with them as well.
And that was horrible mistake number 2.
Oh, well, it wasn't a mistake. They didn't, and they don't intimidate me. If somebody wants to, some of them said, well, we'll just show up at your door and you'll die. Because if you show up at my door, I know who you are and I know what you're here for. And if you hurt me, you might hurt my family. I will fucking kill you. There is no getting around that. So yeah, but So I wasn't intimidated by their threats, and yeah. So War Campaign, hot air.
Yeah, we must just have to agree to disagree, because what you call a knife, other people are calling legitimate disagreements that they have. It's not necessarily a knife, and so it's a matter of you just being able to listen to what they're saying and try and see where they're coming from. I see where you're coming from. I could see why you would feel attacked. I totally understand that. But it's one thing to feel attacked and then another to step back and look at things objectively and saying like, okay, maybe there just might be a reason why, a legitimate reason why people are upset.
And in retrospect, that was our mistake because we tried to see things from his point of view, but he would never do the same with us or our perspectives.
That they have. It's not necessarily a knife, and so it's a matter of you just being able to listen to what they're saying and try and see where they're coming from. I see where you're coming from. I could see why you would feel attacked. I totally understand that. But it's one thing to feel attacked and then another to step back and look at things objectively and saying like, okay, maybe there just might be a reason why, a legitimate reason why people are upset.
Then there was the follow-up stream, the transcript stream, where Tim Lin read back a transcript of EVS in an earlier video saying creators making Trump comics should stop and that it didn't belong in CG. Lim's falling out was capped by his disapproval of DC Comics artist Mike S. Miller, known for his Injustice run, joining Comicsgate.
When Mike S. Miller joined, this weird thing happened that I still can't understand it, but a lot of parties that I was not even aware of, people think I know them. I have no idea what's going on. Ethan is inviting all these pros in, and these pros are sucking like all of the money out that would have gone to our independent Indiegogo campaigns.
Okay, so once again, this is the destruction of Comicsgate as we see it. And this is where Ethan is saying, no, you can't be Comicsgate. You can't be Comicsgate. It was, and this is where it really starts focusing on the people who are making independent comics rather than the fans who are buying the comics, which it was always supposed to be about.
And more importantly, the goal of getting enough clout with the industry that we could fix the big two.
It was. Go ahead.
This is actually the beginning of the Bend the Knee.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I remember. I actually remember Bend the Knee. And it came from a lot of that came from the war campaign. But it was always supposed to be about us. It was always supposed to be about the reader. What are you reading? What do you want? What do you like? It did end up becoming, if you are part of Comicsgate, you have to support this book or that book or this, or you cannot buy certain books from DC or Marvel. There was something that Richard started, which was called Move the Needle. And you would see Comicsgaters attack people for buying the wrong books.
To the point that if you had any problems with Ethan's books or any of the big creators' books, that he would treat you exactly as badly as the industry we were trying to fix was treating people.
You would get a lot of,
worse.
You would see a lot of people get mad because they would ask Ethan for a refund or something because he was so late on his books. When we did do the debate, at that point in time, I pointed out that right now the last person should be getting his book, not the first. And Ethan had not sent his book out at that point. I don't think he sent it out for a couple of months after either.
2 years, man.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was a long time between when they were supposed to get their stuff and when they actually
my
did.
take on this, because I always thought there should be two elements to Comicsgate: the commentators and the creators.
Two wings.
Yeah, two wings. Yeah. But the thing is, in order for us to win, we had to have the creators make sure that their books were out on effing time. And it killed me that I would hear LK would say this. It's okay if I don't mind the wait, because a lot of times with this doesn't freaking matter. It really, I understand that people who are used to Kickstarters are used to Kickstarters being late. But when you are doing this movement and we're trying to make the other side look like they're the nut bars, you make sure that you are Johnny on the freaking spot with your books.
Yeah, if you want to say we're better than the industry, you actually have to put in some effort to be better than the industry, because otherwise it's just two sets of toxic people being toxic to each other and the people who support them.
One
What
last
was saying,
thing.
RDB?
One last thing, and then you can get back to playing the video so we can get past the 20 minutes.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
This is part 1 of 30, guys, just so you know.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah, this is the Bend the Knee, and then this is also where Ethan basically decided, like, hey, if you're, guess what? You're backing me against the fight against communism, against the SJWs. You're not backing me for the book. There's no guarantee you're gonna get a book. Remember that bullshit?
Yep. The I want to be literally just as bad as the industry, just for the other side thing. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Glinzer's right. Doesn't matter how good the restaurant is if you have to wait 2 friggin' years to get the meal.
And then all you get is
left restaurants for late food.
So here was the other problem was that it's like you're going to a restaurant. Remember you ordered that steak? Well, you just got the salad. You never got the steak.
Yeah.
Because that's what you got in the first Cyberfrog. You got an ash can, and people were so pissed off. Where's the rest of the book?
All right. And we will move on to get past the 20-minute mark.
Moving along.
The PC was drawing my characters. And everyone's not everyone's characters. That was the problem. So he goes on Twitter, he shows the piece, and then a bunch of people feel left out. So people said, hey, why isn't Rags on there? And like, why isn't Donald Thump on there? That's what happened.
Yeah,
so
this was literally the day after Ethan told me I should be Comicsgate. I'm like, okay, and I had no idea what anything besides the ones I drew on there were.
Yeah. And so there was that. So Tim's pissed at that. but I didn't know he was pissed about that. I didn't know.
Bull
And
crap.
then, you know, he should be on the poster, and Mike is asking me for a second time. This is now a second time that people have had to ask me if Tim Lim is legit. So Tim Lim's like, what the hell? Like, I've been doing this.
A sane person would have said, I'm not the arbiter of legitness, but whatever.
I've been out here, like, you know, banging the pavement, like doing Trump books and being indie, and I'm Comicsgate. You know, Ethan comes out and he says that I'm not Comicsgate. And then Mike S. Miller's here and Jon Malin, all these other pros. What the
I found out about it the day after it happened, and it was transmitted to me by several people, 6 in particular, and they wanted my opinion on it. So I have the transcript right here, and I'd like to read it to you. It's in your Drawing Hornets. It's in your Drawing Hornets Nest video, and it was taken on June the 18th. And I have the transcript.
I love Tim
and this
so
is
much.
What it says. It says, I said to
He was
Zach,
just like, I have all the
said
receipts.
to all of them, quote, stop making these Trump comics. Stop. I think Chuck is working on some Trump in space book. Look, it's not 2016 anymore. Where Captain Cummings was mad is that he asked me, is that true? Did he talk to you? Because it says, quote, I said, in past tense, I said to all of them. That is not true. We are just meeting for the first time today. And I talked to Brett, and I said, has he ever talked to you? And he said, no. And I asked Mark Pellegrini, who is working with Mitch on Red Rooster, has Ethan reached out to you? He said no. Then I said, where is this coming from? And we all said, I don't know, because we don't know anyone else who's making Trump books except us. Now, I agree with your position, actually. I've actually heard your conversations with Box Day.
But like earlier today, you said like it seemed like people were backstabbing you, when to me it's really just about people who are friends with Tim and Mark and Brett and Chuck. If you say something, we're going to fight just as much tooth and nail for our friends as you are for Richard, who I also consider a friend as well. So it's like, it's not that we're stabbing you in the back, but we saw something as he's attacking our friend, and our only option is either to zip it and say nothing and let our friend twist in the wind, or come out swinging for him.
Okay, so this was this is showing off how Ethan was truly gatekeeping everything. You have people who are doing and saying things that are not in his purview. He's not being able to say, purview. Thank you. He's not saying this is allowed. And so Tim's doing his own thing, and that's not allowed. Tim's doing his own thing and wants to be a part of what Ethan Van Sciver was doing, and that apparently breaks the rules. So there you go.
I think it's fair to say, especially in retrospect, that when it came to the whole Hail Caesar thing, Ethan bought his own hype hard.
Well, yeah, they were really on their knees and sucking them off. I mean, I absolutely can't believe they actually made YouTube videos with all that in their mouth. Maranuyya said, I distinctly remember showing up to one of the High Council streams just to say hi. The council could off, and then I left. There you go. All right, let's move on.
And I said to myself, I'm going to come out swinging for my friend. If it destroys my YouTube channel, I don't care, because I'm loyal to him.
This was the beginning of the eventual departure of Tim Lim and Doug Ernst from Comicsgate. Captain Cummings and Englentine would soon leave as well, and slowly but surely the OG of Comicsgate would phase out.
Alsmat Films, $2. How to get my comic Road Warrior Drake at Indicron. I think you mean Indiegogo, I'm guessing. I would suggest build your name up before you just launch an Indiegogo.
No, he's talking about Indicron, Edwin, you were telling us about Indicron.
Yeah.
This is just boring to me. I mean, every time I would watch a live stream with the Ethan and all that, it was just about, okay, and now you got 15 minutes to back this book. Oh, look at this book. Isn't this book awesome? Either that or it was, oh, that guy sucks. You know, there was no real personality to it, in my opinion.
There's no soul here.
There didn't seem to be a love of comics either. It was just a love of the money that they can make selling comics.
And a love of himself, let's be real. There's a reason why every single one of his sentences begins with I, me, or mine, usually.
Send me a tweet. Send me a tweet on Twitter, or Umbrella or John Delarose. We'll take a look. And we just got to vet you, and then we'll get you up. And just want to make sure you got a legitimate project. If you're friendly to us, we'll absolutely get you up.
Have I been vetted, Edwin?
You've been vetted.
Okay.
I was listening to a live stream hosted by Yellow Flash Comics, and it included guys like the Umbrella Guy and Ethan Van Sciver of Comic Book Pro Secrets, and there was a gentleman, Edwin Smooth Jazz, and he mentioned this thing about IndieCron, which is I guess to better describe it, a registry for indie comic artists who are producing work. And it's a kind of like a way to point to them and to, give them a platform to show updates so that people can actually go and hear about them. And then if they're interested, go to their respective sites or what have you and support them. Of course, these are artists who are friendly to Comicsgate. So I paid into a super chat, and I asked about getting Road Warrior Drake, which is my graphic novel, the comic that I'm currently producing. How do I get that included in IndieCron so that people can hear about it? And
I'm gonna
and as a way
I'm gonna skip past
Wade
the
issued a
advertising.
thinly veiled threat to an Arctic Press that if they went ahead and published Sienkiewicz, co-create CG creators.
Okay, there we go.
The negative sentiment towards Comicsgate was intensified when Billy Tucci suggested that famous comic artist Darwin Cook would have aligned himself with CG. Cook's widow, Marcia, immediately clapped back against Ethan Van Sciver over this notion, accusing Comicsgate of being, of all things, transphobic, misogynistic, and racist. She went as far as to say that EVS had a quote-unquote cult-like hypnosis with regards to the group.
Point of order. No. Look, yes, I know there's a cult-like element in Comicsgate with the war campaign, so forth, so on, but there was just as much as the anti, because they would absolutely attack us. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do, what you believe, what you think. If you were a part of CG, even OG CG, you were considered all the ists and all
the devil,
they could think of, without even mentioning, without even talking to, without having a discussion. And mind you, I am the guy who, whenever we had a live stream, I would send my link, not to watch, but to join and say, this is what we're talking about. I know a lot of you have something to say about it. You guys disagree with us. Please jump on and let's have a discussion. And twice, maybe 3 times, anybody ever took us up on that. But they automatically knew, without ever speaking to me, that I was some sort of istophobe. Yeah.
And they would also unperson those of us of quote-unquote diverse identities because we were on the side of Comicsgate or Gamergate or all the rest of them. Like, I am gay, I am disabled, and I am of a religious minority, and yet I was called homophobic or internalized homophobic more times than I care to count, frankly.
All right, let's hit the go.
Bill Sienkiewicz, co-creator of the Marvel character Legion and artist for the New Mutants, led the way with smear campaigns against CG, while he turned a blind eye to his peer, DC Comics artist Robbie Rodriguez, who shared pictures of his anus and tagged Ethan Van Sciver. It took Jon Malin to do what Antos, Sienkiewicz, Joe Quesada, and the rest would not do. Richard
let's see. Why did Richard C. Meyer choose to sue Mark Waid instead of publishing his book with one of the largest publishers in the country? Your boy Zach was supposed to be all about the money. Why would he waste money on a lawsuit instead? I thought, okay.
C. Meyer filed a lawsuit against
Say again?
Mark Waid over tortious interference. In short, Waid issued a thinly veiled threat to an Arctic Press that if they went ahead and published Meyer's Jawbreakers, then most in the comic industry would refuse to work with an Arctic Press. AP saw no other alternative but to acquiesce to Waid's threat and cancel their plans to publish Jawbreakers. Considering this to be tortious interference, Meyer filed a suit against Waid, a lawsuit that would span 2 years and would be a significant rallying cry for Comicsgate. AP submitted to cancel culture according to CG. However, Niobe Comics creator Larry Higgins offers a different perspective on AP's negative stance with CG.
Most of the people that Ethan Van Sciver hates were all part of Antarctic Press, if you didn't know. People didn't know that Common America is printed by Antarctic. Like, no, they're not Antarctic. They're iconic. Yes, they are. They are both. See, that's the thing. Just like Niobe Comics is its own label.
Oh, he's a
but when we
Larry.
reprint through Antarctic,
say again.
That's Larry. Larry's a
Yeah.
grifter. I used to hang with him on Google Hangouts or meetups with some people late at night, and then he'd always be like, "What's the new drama? What's the new drama?" The dude will attach himself to whatever is popular to try and put his own book out and get noticed.
A long time ago, I noticed he never came on to be a part of Jeopardy or comic book Thunderdome.
I don't remember this guy in the first place.
Anytime he did pop up, he was there to promote the book.
So
and
if you
that's
don't know
all.
Niobe, Niobe is basically a ripoff of the X-Men. That's what he's doing right now.
Never know, but hey, you know what though? God bless you there. I hope he's successful.
Yeah, I don't remember Larry at all, so I'll take your guys' word for it.
He's only been around for like four years.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, I did notice that it was never, hey, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna play this game. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, as Clint says, talk about comics. It would be let me come on and let me do the Niobe thing. And once again, I hope he's successful with it. I hope he is very happy with it.
Let me come into your live stream and plug my comic book and then and leave. That's what
I used to get people. I used to show when my channel was on the rise and I was getting thousands of views. I used to show other people's videos with a link to their channel. That actually helped a few people. And I would get a whole bunch of books. I got so many PDFs, and they're so bad. A whole bunch of them were so very, very bad. And so I started telling people, make sure that if you want me to review your new book, make sure it's good, because I stopped doing it.
Dude, Twitter, since I have my DMs closed off, you cannot message me, unless I follow you back. I get so many people who are like, after we did the Mike Barron interview on this channel, and all of a sudden my DMs were flooded. It's like, hey, I'm doing this new book. Would you like to review my new book? I'm like, who the heck are these people? They just come out of the woodwork.
Well, if you ever read those, it's like I started telling people, make sure you're bringing your best foot forward, because you do not want me to do a review. And
also make sure your book's done. If your book's not done, I'm not promoting it.
He is, and his book is failing, and he's in debt, says Clint. That's too bad. That's too bad.
it gets the Antarctic Press label. It's the same thing with Common America. It's the same thing with Punchline. It's the same thing with Brian Ball, who they all took fucking, a stance against, because when Antarctic Press wouldn't sign your boy Zach because of a phone call from Mark Waid, Brian Ball was part of Comicsgate at the time. And he did sign with the Antarctic Press, and Comicsgate lost their shit over it. Because at that point in time, Antarctic Press was the enemy. And it's not something that AP wants to talk about. They would like to sweep that under the rug, as many other people would like to sweep that under the rug. But the fact of the matter is, it happened. I know, because I was there.
John De La Rose was facing heat over his association with former Gamergate current Comicsgater Vox Day. This led to one of the
Vox Day had 2 minutes in the sun with Comicsgate. Nobody wanted him here. We knew he was a grifter. He was recognized at that. He actually tried to purchase the name Comicsgate. I don't know who ended up with it. He saw this as a way of he was just the same as Ethan. Ethan saw Comicsgate as a way to make money, and he took it.
Vox Day, as far as I remember him, was basically the Richard Spencer of what was at the time Comicsgate.
Okay, but yeah, he was definitely not somebody we wanted around. Anyway,
first gay ops in Comicsgate. Oh wait, let me help you guys out. What is a gay op? A gay op is a conspiracy executed by people who connect through social media to harass, dox, deplatform, etc. And it took, of all people, Renfamous, a cosplayer and CG's first true arch nemesis, to point it out. Rogue Kabir, the leader of EBS's fan group War Campaign,
denied sending DMs requesting the head of John De La Rose.
Okay.
I don't know if Renfamous counts as a nemesis of Comicsgate. I'd say Melissa Morgue was probably the first one of those, if you're being entirely honest.
Renfamous was actually bigger than Melissa Morgue. Melissa Morgue gave everybody the heebies long before. Like, Ren was an obvious villain. You know, she came out, she was speaking out against it. Melissa Morgue came up like, well, I'm just gathering information on Comicsgate, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it turned out
That's why I think Melissa Morgue is worse.
Yeah.
Didn't he at least Renfamous was honest.
Yes, he did. He did.
He tried to, but Preston Poulter beat him to it.
Clint is saying this is missing key element. The leftists who flooded the AP president's hospital with so many phone calls, their emergency lines couldn't get urgent messages, says Clint. Renfamous was the one who attacked Umbrella Guy and allegedly his mailbox and so on. Yeah, I don't buy. I never had a problem with Umbrella Guy. I just never bought that story. Never believed that.
Did you block the word Preston Poulter? Because I put it in the chat there.
You did?
Yeah, it's not popping up. And
maybe YouTube is having one of its moments.
I don't know. Somebody to type in Preston Poulter and see if I
typed it in the Preston Poulter at least twice. The first time my comment didn't show up whatsoever.
I don't know. Maybe there was a time when the only thing that was going on was about Preston Poulter's sex life. I have zero interest
maybe
in.
You blocked it then.
Yeah, so I might have.
I don't remember this story.
Yeah, I might have blocked it for that. So
we called him Peggy.
Oh, there's MARANYA.
Yeah, so I don't know. Mine's not popping up. All he said was Preston Poulter beat him to it.
Yeah. Preston Pegger. Yeah, that's the thing, Robert. Anybody ever wanted to talk about was what he liked when having sex. I didn't need to know that. That was information I was not looking for.
Yeah, we're not the National Enquirer, for God's sake.
I'll say this, you'll never hear Christmas songs ever the same again.
I guess.
Hey,
Are you serious, dude? You're going to justify this?
I'm hearing lie after lie. You know what? Shut it, John. Number one, shut it, all right? You make up lies. You show doctored pictures, all right? If you notice, every single time I write in my texts, everywhere all over Twitter, what do I say? Do I ever swear? Do I ever say, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to cut you? Nothing. I use poetic language to get my point across. Why? Because I'm not interested in actually physically going and hurting anybody.
Eventually, Rowe confessed with tears to Ethan Van Sciver that, yes, the DMs were real.
What? Oh my God! Oh, YouTube reaction! Oh my gosh!
Quickly,
this was the worst kept secret of all time.
Renfamous was a person that never should have got attention whatsoever, but they needed a villain.
Yeah.
So they decided to prop one up, and that was Renfamous.
Absolutely. There was okay. Even back in the day of OGCG, one of Diversity in Comics tactics, he would go and he would start a little word battle with somebody. They would say something and he would bring the message over and go, look what this person said to me. Obviously, they hate their fans, and he would do a video about it. You need a villain. If you're going to keep up that kind of channel, you need a villain. And if you can't find one, by God, you're going to
Which is ironically exactly what the big two pros did to us.
Yep.
Even though none of us had any anything against any identity, or at least the vast majority of us don't, even though we were mostly like center right and center left generally, they kept saying they're Nazis, they're Nazis, they're Nazis, until either we said something out of context, or or they would just get the journalists to report it anyway.
So Poulter was putting out true accusations against DVS, says MARANYA, and the crew, and that's why they attacked him. Mod is saying, and he talked in all caps like Dr. Doom. Sky Brigade is eating itself for villains lately. That's the thing. If you don't have one, you have to create one. The one that still ticks me off, says MARANYA, is when New CG would poke the bear of Patrick Zurcher until he snapped, and then they posted gotcha. Well, yeah, that's how you do it. You go out, you say something. So I took the philosophy, don't react. There's no point to it. You know, let people, even when, after a while, when I got canceled by the DNC crowd, I just stopped replying because for a while, wait, I swear, no, okay, click. I can't, why is it? And then I was like, you know what? I'm tired, done. Just say what you're going to say. And when I did that, it was like, okay, well, everybody sent me all these evil texts and everything. And then after that, it was done.
It short circuits the outrage if you just go, yep, I don't care.
Yep. That's so true. His lame ass birthday clown shtick is old. Heel Babyface is a stupid fatty, but we don't need to give him more attention. Not a big fan of Heel's Babyface. I think he's a bit of a one-trick pony, same as. But I mean, if I don't get the whole birthday party clowns, I really do have to do one of these for a Richard Meyer video because I don't get what he's saying. I'm wondering how much I agree with him because I do know that there's such thing called audience captured. It's when you might be doing a certain kind of video and then you do a different video and that video blows up. So you wash, rinse, repeat.
I'm not sure.
Hold on, let me finish. I do know that there are huge channels that wash, rinse, and repeat. And I do believe that. I stopped watching because there are certain channels where I don't need to watch their movie review. I just need to change the title of the movie that they're reviewing and just put it into last week's review. It's the same thing. Go on ahead, say it.
I'm not sure where Birthday Party Clown came from. As I recall it, the two sort of faux pas that DNC used to do were Mental Illness Haircut and Man in Wig. Those were the two.
Yeah.
He's being a little bit too gauche for his own good things. I don't recall when Birthday Party Clown became the term.
Right, let's move forward here.
Well, that was the end of last year.
It was an inspiring time for me to get my book Road Warrior Drake completed.
This is a bit of commercial for his book, by the way.
Sometimes on location by the river.
He does it every 10
I
minutes.
mean, let's not act like that's not how YouTube works.
I know. Yeah, you got to get it out there. Don't forget my book. Go over to this link. And in that vein, hey, guys, don't forget to hit that like button, share. Don't forget to hit the notifications. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, Ko-Fi link is in the description below. Drop $1 in the tip jar. Everything helps, not just channel, but my family. This is how I help.
Ad nauseum. Yep.
There you go.
That featured a group of artists and creators looking to make the CG thing special, including Mike S. Miller, Edwin Boyette, Billy Tucci, Doug Tenable, Artie Bear, Antonio Bryce, Jeff Hicks from World Class Bullshitters, Yellow Flash, and Kelsey Shannon. It was a combination of art discussions, plans for the movement, and live drawings.
He puts an R in drawings.
The divide between CG and John De La Rose, however, specifically Orvox Day, led to some early memings by War Campaign. This would all come to a head when Vox declared a takeover of Comicsgate.
You shouldn't have fucked with the Dark Lord.
Oh dear!
Every time you come at me, I will take something.
I am the Dark Lord.
My
feeling
is that
the people who have helped propel Comicsgate, right, are in this room and in this chat. And for Vox Day to think he can lay claim to that and co-opt the enthusiasm of all these good people, right, in our chat. The enthusiasm and the creativity of all these people here in our conversation right here. It is ridiculous at its audacity. It is nonsense and insanity.
That man's got a voice that is smooth as freaking butter, man.
I gotta ask though.
Yep.
Would
Go ahead.
Comicsgate be better with Vox Day or the EVS?
We'll never know, but it is a question. I mean,
I suspect Ethan would be better, and being as you guys know, I am no fan of Ethan. That says something, because Vox Day strikes me as the kind of person, similar to how I always thought of Richard Spencer, being the guy who, if they went to evil scientist school, they would get beaten up by Dr. Draken, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. They're that level of pathetic. when you have to try so hard to be edgy and scream "Take me seriously," it only proves how much of a useless hipster you are.
Vox Day comes up. Those few lines you just showed the little clip there. He seems like the guy who basically like, if you disagree with him, he's gonna behind your back, he's gonna chant spells and all that stuff and draw. Just like it's just like what? It's like no.
Don't fuck with Mr. Zero. Okay, let's
now. And he gets taken down by a platypus.
Right.
He's trying to monetize all the hard work, all the enthusiasm, and all the goodwill of these people that come in here and join us time after time, and share in our triumphs and our sorrows, and have given so much of their goodwill and good attention. And Vox needs to stop. Vox needs to put in his own work. He's an intelligent guy. He can do his own work. He can come up with his own brand. Comicsgate does not belong to Vox Day.
No, it belongs to us, but in particular,
I knew he was going to do it every time. He cannot explicate his ego from the situation ever.
It belongs to us. Me, yes. Yeah,
we're
you
doing
could
the
see like he was trying so very hard to sound humble, and then he had to do it.
Right.
Opportunity to do my own. The first guy to jump on was artist Bad Ankle Bill.
William Blankenship, let's formally welcome you to the chat. How are you, sir?
I am doing beautifully. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm not out with the cool kids. I'm not getting drunk. I'm not getting plastered. I'm just being a fuddy-duddy homebody at home.
Bad Ankle Bill was the creator of the Thunder Chickens webcomics. I was a fan of his work, which had as diverse a range of any artist I've ever seen.
This is a Lasmat. Is it a Lasmat or Alasmat?
You got it right. A Lasmat, yes.
A Lasmat, yeah. This is an Lasmat exclusive. Let me bring it up on my phone.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's kick ass.
Yeah, that's Drippy Jack. That's the book that I got offered by my buddy for Carrie's Playground. 10% of artists make money off their work. 10% of the artists who make money off their work will get to a point where they can support themselves with that money. So if you want to be the 1% of anything, be the 1% of artists. Get to the point where you can make money off your work, and then get to the point where you can support yourself with that money.
I have been trying to get Elizabeth to start making money off her art for so long.
What exactly is Comicsgate about? What is Comicsgate for? What are the people who have said that they are part of Comicsgate? What do they actually want? And this video was prompted by this Twitter thread that you're seeing on the screen right here, which was started by science fiction author Jon Delarose. And Jon Delarose was the person who first gave Comicsgate any kind of media exposure in the Federalist and PJ Media, both of which are right-wing sources. So that's what Comicsgate is to me. It's just simply, it's based on...
Okay, so let's see, Switch Point. I remember Switch. Hey, it's been a long damn time. He's the one that taught me how to live stream. No, John, it was always a consumer movement for consumers to want books either with balanced politics or devoid of politics altogether. Comicsgate was about getting fans. It's exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a great definition of it. And then we always had these people come in. Skogie, it's both. It's literally both. No, it wasn't. It was exactly what Switchpoint said. I remember one of the points we were debating is I said that we were talking about, well, who's more important? Is it the creator of the comic book or is it the reader of the comic book? And it's both.
Ethan's ego could not let him let it go.
He could not admit. I said, no, it's not both. It's never both.
The fans choose the rock star.
If you don't have people buying your book, it's a hobby. That's it. So as far as definitely commercial comic books, the most important people are the fans. And that's what OGCG used to be about. And
they put food on the table at the end of the day.
Ethan took it, and what got me was how many people followed him along. Woo! He's gonna lead us to Mecca. And
cult of personality.
And he was literally looking them in the eye and says, "You don't matter as much as I do." But he was saying it. The words he was using was, "I am here for you." Bullshit. His entire philosophy is you are there for him.
As we just saw, there are times when he's not even capable of even being that subtle. Because I mean,
he's like the Antifa of Comicsgate because he calls himself the anti-fascist, but he does fascist things.
This is why I always called him Robespierre, because he's exactly the person who sees the plebs revolting and declares himself king of the revolt.
Right. Okay. Let's move. Let's see. Exactly. Comicsgate was all about the books with good stories and not agenda first, and the characters that we loved. I don't like EBS either. Stopped backing him years ago. Plus the attack on Eric. Yeah, just make awesome booms. Books. I'm sure you meant. Yep. Let's see. OCGC hashtag says Jay Lucian and Uncle Ethan.
A grievance, and it's based on a widespread dissatisfaction with the product that these major media corporations are putting out.
Go ahead.
I just want to plug the Geeky Povo show. It's going to be at Left Bar Night around 9 p.m. Eastern.
You bouncing?
Since we're and since we're plugging things every 10 minutes, so I figured I'd plug that
yeah. We're not plugging things; they're plugging things. It's on the buy my book.
I'll wait my turn until the next time he highlights.
How many? Okay, so like these are like 5 years ago and all that kind of shit. How many of these books have actually come out? Just asking. But yeah, plug the channel there, Bubba.
I was gonna say, watching this up and watching the old clips, it's like, you ever watch when people have like old video compilations people did like in 2006 when YouTube first started?
Mm-hmm.
10
years from now, people are gonna go back and like, what the hell is Comicsgate?
I think E and I have been saying this since the old days. It's so weird to see the random shenanigans we got up to online treated like an actual like historical.
Wasn't somebody
element.
accused of a murder or something along those lines?
Yeah.
Work campaign murdered your channel.
Let's see. I don't support Eric July after he attacked Peter Samedi of Alterna. St. Peter is literally the only comic guy who is above the mud. We had Peter on once, and he was really nice. I have nothing to say bad
Peter was
about
also
the guy.
swatted, wasn't he?
Was he? I don't remember.
I remember him. I think it was him that was swatted at least twice.
Yeah, and that's something. But it was fun. It was fun back then being the community. You know, I was gonna have the quartering on like a week before he blew up, and after that, I was like, hey, all right, good, glad to have you on.
I remember because you asked me to ask him because you didn't feel comfortable asking, so I messaged him and he never got back to me.
Real quickly before we get back to the video, quartering is now over on Rumble with Crowder.
Yeah, I know. He's grown so, but it was instant too. It was like, yeah, sure, I think. And who are you, peasant?
Well, before he even got big, he was already friends with Sargon of Akkad, and that was kind of where the foundation was laid.
Anyway,
wasn't Melissa Morg also a guy?
Yes.
Yes.
He was trying to catfish the community.
Quality books put out on time, in some cases early. If EBS back. By the way, every time they put out a book, Ethan has something to say about them. It's like every time. It's almost that I don't get the notification from Tim that his new book is out. I get a notification from Ethan because he's like, well, these guys still suck.
I love it because Doug says thanks for the promotion.
Say again.
Doug Ernst, he brought up Twitter. He's like EBS. He's just constantly promoting iconic comics. We love him.
I know, right? he's always talking about them anytime they have a book. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah.
However, after a while, you have to translate that grievance to doing something. And so now that there's actual money involved in Comicsgate, that it's not just YouTube revenue, but there's actual no BS money, the question is where exactly are we going with it?
The CG critics sector were vocal in their criticism.
I noticed that sounded like Unranked Chevron.
It was.
Okay. I think what this video is missing is names. Like, just put a little something like, this is the guy who's talking or something. Because I was like, wait a second. I know this sounds like Unranked. That's Unranked, right? Yeah.
Yep, that was Unranked. Both of those segments were
That's
Unranked.
a guy I miss. I legitimately liked
You know what's missing?
unranked
Need to have like where they cut away and they talk to the guy on camera like they do in the documentaries, and then it goes back to like this stuff here, and then it goes back. It's like they have the name.
Well, yeah, it's definitely trying to do like a documentary style. So I'm wondering why he didn't do that. Maybe he'll point it out in the credits or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. The quartering went from canceled to magic. I know, right? Let's see. Peter's biggest sin was saying thank you to customers who bought Alterna, and he said thank you to people who used the move the needle in their tweets, and they accused him of being right wing. Yeah, it's that we talked about that also. The how the left is cult like in their hatred for you. I stopped supporting Eric July. The books weren't that great. That's what I felt too. I only read the first issue of Isom to
shout out to Nick. I hope you're enjoying prison.
Okay. Oh my God, look, it's Nick Rikita. DNC does the same, bashes Iconic Comics and Eric July because they put out quality books on time. He claims they're crap. Spoiler, they're not.
The lost that gets me every time because we know a situation right now. Look at it.
Yeah. Let's
of EBS turning the movement into a venue for selling their comics. This led to a four-way debate on Nick Ricada's law stream between EBS, England Team,
it was a
Unracked Chevron, and Jon Malin.
And for a while, it was just simply based on this understanding that mainstream American superhero comics that they were just really bad, that they were just really mediocre, and that's how it came together. What's gone wrong in the past couple of months is that it has just literally become all about these crowdfunding campaigns. It's literally become all about solely about making money. It seems like people have to basically go to Ethan Van Sciver to get approval. It seems like that he is the de facto leader of Comicsgate, right, which used to be a leaderless movement.
Your initial statement pointed out that Comicsgate was supposed to be about the critic movement, holding other bigger companies to account. Presumably, you're talking about Marvel and DC. You're not
that
talking about
objectively
me,
true
correct?
Statement. Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
it's a comic.
Okay.
Comic book, right?
Well, in any case, you're the critic.
Yeah.
If somebody isn't holding the big two to account, whose responsibility is that? Mine or yours? You are the YouTube critic community. I am not. I'm a professional. Me and Jon Malin, our job is to provide a substitute, a better alternative to
me.
And yet, they fell off on that.
Supposed to be criticizing. We're adding a new style of comic book that hasn't been seen in 4 years. Comic books that are nonpartisan.
Bull and all of the shit.
Black Day would have come in, as we've seen him do already, with intensely far-right political comic books.
We've got consumer and professional, but the consumer, sorry guys, but the consumer still has to be the focus. When you guys say, and you went on to its name, the guy on, the guy on Daily Wire, you said that the purpose of Comicsgate was to sell comics. No, because when you turn that around, that means in the consumer's eyes, that means the purpose of Comicsgate is to buy comics. This is a consumer market. As soon as you say that this is about selling comics, that's from the point of view of the creator. That's from the point of view of the comic book professional. When you look at the point of view of the customer, you are saying that this movement is entirely made for us to buy your comics. And that has never been true.
One of the issues brought up on that live stream was Nurkish and his Discord, the circumstances of which led to both he and Tim Lim leaving.
Okay, hold on. I want to talk about something here.
Yeah, your icon. It reminded you of that. What was that one? He had the leader. He wanted his ring back. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
The giant glowing eye.
Oh, that's the dragon. That's the dragon.
I know, but that's all I saw is that. I'm thinking, like, is that the Lord of the Rings?
That's the dragon from Harry Potter. God dang. When you start off at YouTube, you do a lot of word salad that you don't do as much when you get into it. I would have said that so differently right now, because what I was trying to convey was that that they were saying, buy my books. That's what this is all about. Buy my books, buy my books, buy my books. And that was focusing on the buyer. instead of Comicsgate was saying improve the books, which would be focusing on the consumer.
Fixing the big two.
Yeah. We want you to take care of us as the readers. And he was saying, horseshit, buy these books. And that would be a little bit more concise. I apologize for that.
That is one of those things when you watch old videos, you always think to yourself, dear God, I sounded like an absolute moron then.
It's why a lot of actors don't watch their own movies, because they would go, oh, I would do that different. Yeah.
How many minutes are we in? 3?
I don't know. Yeah, we're 2 minutes into the video right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the cash grab project. This led to the speculation that the Nurkish Discord reveal was another gay op.
He's allowing incredibly insane and offensive anti-Semitic stuff on a Discord that is connected to him. Let's see how that works with the Washington Post. While my name is splattered all over their headlines with this with this anti-Semitic garbage.
I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't harp on this as much as I am, but every time he starts talking, it will inevitably become me, mine, I, etc. I can't unsee it now.
Crystal G has to go because her phone is dying. This will be posted, and we're only doing a couple of hours now, and then we're going to do another one tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, we're not going to go through the whole movie in one sit because I think
reoccurring segment, folks.
But so you can watch the second half live tomorrow as well. But yeah, you take care, be safe. It wasn't even Nurkish's Discord EVS, you asshat. He wasn't in control of it, says Maranya.
For the next 2 hours and 90 minutes, subscribe to Patreon.
There you go. Yes.
With semen in it and saying this is the last time I came on a Jew.
Nurkish then
I'm
revealed.
sorry, wait, did we skip into the middle of a sentence there?
Only come.
I'm sorry, what? I don't even want to go back and find out. But
Something
what?
he never did.
Yeah,
Soon it was
that's
revealed
gonna be hard.
that war campaigner Praetorian was behind the Nurkish gay op.
Here you can clearly see that Pan and Gat are talking about Comicsgate Anonymous. That was an operation that we ran to go ahead and expose the Nurkish server and to run Nurkish out of Comicsgate, or in an attempt to. We didn't want to be have these attached to our main account, so we went ahead and made a alt called Comicsgate Anonymous, and we went ahead and ran ops, leaked that shit to Renfamous and that side, in the hopes that they would take the story and run with it. And then Ethan Van Sciver asked me who it was, and he asked if it was Sketch Therapy.
Sketch Comedy, you got his name wrong.
You know, Sketch would have been a convenient scapegoat because that's their favorite.
Okay, yeah, there's this guy that was part of War Campaign.
Sketch
He
Therapy
would
and
go
13
after
pounds.
people left and right. He would go after Nerd Wonder. He would definitely hit the ladies, by the way.
Dude, he went after or not Work, but what's his name? What's the guy? Weaponized Rage.
Weaponized Nerd Rage.
Weaponized had a live stream. He came back 14 times with different YouTube accounts.
It's
and
ridiculous. Yeah.
And Webb says, like, dude, go get some help. And now this is a guy who claimed that he was a former veteran, you know,
And he had some sort of PTSD or something.
And I'm
like
thinking,
that.
like, and anybody can claim they are. And if you are that, the last place you should be on is YouTube. And if you have PTSD problems,
Yeah, because your outburst will make you look like an absolute moron because they make him look like an absolute moron.
He was going after a lot of the ladies of Comicsgate, and
Didn't he go after Maranya too? He said something about her voice being manly.
Yeah, let me finish up. Hold on. She's actually honestly using the gay in conjunction with Black Ops BS as a slur that proves EBS and they literally say the F word for gay people, which I do not allow on this channel. And that's one of the reasons why John De La Roz is not on this channel anymore. I go back and forth on him a lot. I don't consider I've never had a bad interaction with him until I kicked him off the channel. But I do have one rule: no slurs. That is a rule I stick to. And I've actually gotten lenient to the point where I will warn you instead of just cutting you. but no slurs is important. John
we
broke
actually,
that rule, so yeah, he's not
The
on.
one time I had the first time I had Tim Lim on, I remember like JD and Bats came in and like, and this is, I don't care who you are, but like if you're somebody coming in to troll my channel and you've never interacted with my channel before, you're getting blocked.
Yeah.
Why should I give you a timeout? No.
Wasn't John Della Rose the guy who said that original Comicsgate was about restoring Christian values or something? And I was like, not every character that's a classic character was Christian, my dude.
Well,
What the
let
hell?
me get back to my story here. Sketch comedy was attacking MARANYA, attacking the ladies Nerdette, Nerd Wonder, and so
Nurkish went after her.
Nurkish even went after her?
Yeah. But the voice, that was Nurkish said.
Yeah.
I don't get
was
it.
the one
I
who
don't
made
get
the
it.
comment about Maranya.
And I remember one day I said something to him, so he comes after me and he's like, he says something like, "You fat bald fuck," and I say, "You know what? You're right. I need to lose weight. I think I'm going to be going into that. Although I don't know about Rogaine, so I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything. But man, you suck and blah blah blah." And I was like, you know, I'm taking this these compliments and these comments from you, and I think it's going to help me improve. I really do appreciate it. Man, you need to go. And I said, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. And then at the end he goes, "Fuck you, you're too nice." I never heard from that motherfucker again. He never talked to it. Said that he was gone. I was like, holy
That's
shit,
one of the
that worked.
incidents for the annual there.
Yeah, that actually worked. Let's get down.
War campaign, because they can get him to do things and say things, and then they can claim no culpability because Sketch is quote unquote not war campaign. So after Ethan Van Sciver asked me who it was.
Okay, like I said, everybody was like, war campaign's doing this, war campaign's doing that. And Ethan was leading them. Without a fucking doubt, Ethan was leading them. And every time anybody would say something, they would go, "Well, he's not war campaign." Even if they were in the videos and they were doing all the jokes and all that kind of stuff, he's not war campaign. That's not us. We never said this.
Yeah,
This,
plausible deniability.
It's a load of shit.
I made a show of trying to go and find whoever it was, and then eventually it just all went away.
Tell me what it's like, Ethan, to be called Nazi for something somebody else has done or said.
It sucks.
I'd really like to know how that feels. You think?
It sucks. Yeah, absolutely.
Tell
And
me
it's
what-
going to happen to him again. And I got.
He doesn't know I was being facetious. He
To be
didn't
fair,
know.
you have a very, very deadpan way of doing things. You could probably stand to be a little bit more over the top when you're trying to be facetious.
He did. He had no idea I was joking right here.
Word in the chat and everybody in Comicsgate what it's like when somebody else does
Hey,
something,
asshole.
and because of that,
Hey,
they're done.
asshole. I know what it's like, and it's about to happen to my friend Nurkish.
I never disrespect.
There we go.
And I'm going to continue to respect you, dude, even though you called me asshole. There was just absolutely no call for that.
Artist Sashi confirmed that Nurkish was never in danger of being doxxed. After this stream, Ethan announced he was leaving Comicsgate.
Horseshit! Oh my gosh, that was the biggest piece of bullshit.
Of all the things that never happened, that never happened.
I got so many comments. You chased Ethan out, and I was like, I did. That's just. Are you trying to insult me on this one? If I chased Ethan Van Sciver away from this movement.
Here we are 7 years later, and he's still not gone.
Yeah,
So, Paul.
his quitting Comicsgate lasted as long as the fucking Oreo he was eating online. I don't actually know if he was, but point being is, he was. Oh, I'm quitting. I'm back.
Yeah, 7 years later, he's still here. So, nope.
That guy was full of shit.
And just focusing on his all caps brand. He left for just one day.
Yeah, you remember about 9 or 10 months ago, Ethan left Comicsgate for 45 minutes or a day. And he
What, that long, really?
12 hours. I don't know.
Oh, I remember this. This was during a hurricane. Gail was working at a hotel, and they made her stay over, and they gave us a room at the hotel. That's why the camera is so shitty.
Holy
Because
crap, how did I get on
laptop.
there?
Say again?
How did I get on there?
I ask that every time you show up.
You know, I had a blue wrench. I had to make my own.
I know, right?
Before all you guys got blue wrenches, just spoiled kids. I had to make my own blue wrench, and then I made one for Eric.
The Frog King, the EVS leaving Comicsgate is like the Who having their 35th final tour.
Maybe that Oreo he was eating came from the Oracle from the Matrix and had the Forget Me juice in it. That you guys remember the scene I'm talking about, right? The one where the Oracle gives Neo the cookie and says, "By the time you finish eating it, you'll feel right as rain."
Yeah.
You know what? You're better off. Just go and just enjoy your life.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't talked to him in forever. I would love to have another conversation with Mark. Mark's a good guy. I really. And oh, by the way, Shinobi Raccoon, the avatar that is being used as the thumbnail for this video was drawn by Shinobi Raccoon.
I'm gonna ask, who's Mark?
Did I?
His name's Mike.
Mark?
You said
Did
Mark.
I call Mike Mark?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's Mike Miller, Mark Millar.
he's having one of those senior moments, folks. Don't pay any
I don't
attention.
know about this story, but EVS sounds like the oldest teenager.
Yeah, it's us from now. It's like, you don't need to know.
That was the running gag with all of this YouTube drama. You would be amazed how many grown-ass adults behave like 16-year-old girls whining in their diaries.
Okay.
I swear to God.
One thing he doesn't go over because he would have this Harassment. One thing he wouldn't even know about is the news reporters that would talk to us. What's his name? The gay guy, blonde hair.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo Yiannopoulos mentioned Comicsgate, and that kind of shone a light on us. And we got reporters asking all sorts of questions all over the place. And a couple of them would send messages, and they were digging because they knew we were the bad guys because we were on the right.
We have to be the devil.
So I pointed out to DNC, I pointed out to Doug and all them. I actually said, I'm getting reporters sending me messages. Watch out because they're digging for dirt. They want to know. But I was talking to Weaponized Nerd Rage. I said, we've got reporters. We got people saying, I'm a female reporter, but he's actually a guy and trying to get in on with us. I said, this is a whole bunch of James Bond shit for people who want to talk about flying man.
I mentioned it earlier how many times they treated our just sitting randomly on YouTube as if they were like doing an expose on a criminal syndicate or something.
Yeah. I want nothing to do with Milo. He's a drama queen. Milo started off just like a lot of people do, like, hey, okay, and then he started believing his own press. Yeah.
And he said, you know what? Englentine, Captain Cummings, Doug, all these guys are right. Comicsgate is a fan movement, and it should always be a fan movement. And if you're a creator, you should not be Comicsgate. It should. And this was his position for all of about, 12 hours. But when he said that back then, I was like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
And I stopped calling myself Comicsgate back then. Every time somebody asked me if I'm Comicsgate, I would say I believe in Comicsgate. I do believe in Comicsgate, but I believe it is what you guys, I guess, refer to.
Then the reason why what he is saying is correct is because as soon as you put a book out, it has to be treated with the same respect. We can't automatically, we got a book from Ethan Van Sciver. It's called Cyberfrog. It's wonderful because it was made for us. No, we have to read it. Is the writing good? Is the art good? Is it paced well? Same with ESOM, same with Soul Finder or Common America. It doesn't matter what the book is. I mean, you could be, as he's saying, Comicsgate adjacent. But as soon as you create a comic book, you have to be treated with the same gloves. How is your action and reaction to your customers? Because that was a part of what we were talking about in OGCG as well. And I know for a fact that a lot of people in CG was not talking and treating their customers very well. So they should have been called out. But at that point in time, Comicsgate was under the thumb of Ethan. It's never come out. So
yeah, and to your point, one of the things we were missing in the big two back then was this thing called meritocracy. They demonized the very concept of meritocracy and would unperson you if you mentioned it. Well, cut to 3 or 4 years later with Ethan being the quote-unquote king of Comicsgate, self-appointed, and he was doing exactly the same duplicitous tricks that the pros were doing, and he was surprised that he was getting somewhat of the same reaction that the pros got for doing that.
Yeah. Oh, MARANYA saying EVS, I will admit, is a decent artist when he puts his fat butt in the chair and draws the damn book to get it out in time. I'm sure he has the skills of an artist, and he is very good. We've seen it professionally. Right now, he's a YouTuber. He is not a comic artist with a YouTube machine, with a YouTube channel. He is a YouTuber with comic book artist skills.
Yeah, I would say this drama went on so long. The fact that even Yellow Flash said "fuck all this" and decided to leave. Last year, I thought it was hilarious. It's like
the Yellow Flash story. I was once again. I'm sleeping, and I hear my phone's just shaking on the table.
Comics Division goes and he tells me and E, "Hey, Yellow Flash is talking about you guys," and so we got in the YouTube Hangout room because or Google Hangout room because Google Hangouts was still a thing back then, and we caught the tail end of it, and he's ranting and raving, drunk as a skunk, and this will forever be my favorite first YouTube drama thing that ever happened. He and that Umbrella guy, who I believe was also on that stream, are talking, and he mentions me, or who very obviously was supposed to be me, and he refers to me as a dick sucker. For those that don't know or showed up just now, that is very, very ironic indeed, because I am a gay bottom. And so his worst attempt to insult me was basically, he gets laid, goddamn him.
Yeah, it's the same. Oh my gosh, he likes women. That is the same thing.
In case you're wondering who the Umbrella guy is, he's known as the mailbox guy.
Yes. But the thing is Yellow Flash went off wanting me to get into something called blood sports. I had no interest in this at all. And he just kept going for 2 freaking weeks. He was two weeks worth of England team.
You forgot the inciting incident of all of this.
What was it? I did forget.
The inciting incident of all of this was Yellow Flash wanted to make a Comicsgate approved blacklist for comic pros.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And you and I, as we did back then and still do now frequently, got on a stream and we were talking about it philosophically and tactically and going, that exact same blacklisting behavior is why a lot of us dislike the pros at the moment. We shouldn't do that. And for this offense, he wanted to get E and maybe even me, I don't know, onto the Internet Blood Sports thing, which was at the time headed by Jim, aka Mr. Mediker, and we kept saying no. And so Yellow Flash would, for like 2 weeks solid, get on with that Umbrella guy and get drunk and whine at us, basically.
Guy was really, I think that definitely during that first show, Umbrella Guy and Edwin Boyer were just kind of watching. I remember Cecil would throw in a couple of funny lines or something like that, which roast the fuck out of me. I don't care if you're funny, you're funny. But it went on for I commented on the first bit, but after a while I was like,
here's
I got a life to lead, Cha-Cha. You go do what you need.
Well, here's my thing.
Here's the other half of it, which is he broke one of the most fundamental rules in YouTube etiquette, which he would do this getting drunk at 3 a.m. whining about us thing, but then he wouldn't let the live stream stand on its own merits. He would go back and delete them immediately after they.
A lot of people did that, and a lot of people do that because live streams just are part of what destroys your channel. They really can't. What were you saying?
But that's
RDB?
not why he did it. He did it so that he couldn't get called out for the things he said.
As a guy who has always been the outside of this stuff, I came to your channel around 2018, 19.
Yeah, this is when it really was blowing up.
I found this channel by mistake, actually. I was looking at Link Car videos talking about what they did to Spider-Man and everything. And then
Link Cara.
So then I see like, oh, this guy's live doing hangouts. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I see there's people fighting back and forth, and like, is this a thing people do on Friday nights? Just argue about stuff, and like, so
that must have been during the comic book Thunderdome.
Yeah, just before comic Thunderdome. Okay. So you had Underage Chevron was on there, and a few other guys, and so I have no idea what Comicsgate is. I have no idea who EVS is. I didn't read DC Comics, so I didn't even know he was even an artist. So I'm watching this going on. I came in after the whole hot dog debate and all this stuff. At that point, I realized, like, why are people talking about this? Why do people even care anymore? Because to an outsider who had no idea this, we don't give a shit about that. We're going to go buy what we want to buy.
I said this so many times to people. I said, the average reader doesn't know shit about this culture war.
They don't.
They don't.
I go into comic book shops. They have no idea who EVS is. They don't even. Half of them don't even have social media. They don't even follow the people that they're like the Gail Simones, all this stuff. They're not on Twitter. They're not on Instagram. They may be on Facebook because they have family members, but that's about it. They go in the shops. They vote with their wallets, and that's what the Comicsgate apparently before it's called Comicsgate was originally supposed to be. You vote with your wallet. You don't like something, we boycott. We're not.
Yeah, demonstrate to the companies that we are the audience.
Going into this, I've always been the person who's like, why would you want to associate name with a term? If someone's going to wear Comicsgate, I'm going the other direction.
The thing is we didn't name ourselves. This video
you're labeled by the newspaper.
But the thing is after a while, Comics Division, myself, we were on live stream saying this whole Comicsgate thing, the name is soured.
Yeah,
it's not a good thing to get behind.
Yeah, they gave us the name Comicsgate because at that time Gamergate was still in relatively recent memory.
Yeah.
And so they would add the gate suffix to basically every industry that social justice or what is now referred to as wokeness would try to institutionally capture. Any pushback they got from that would be called whatever industry it was, Gate.
Whatever Gate.
Gamergate was the first, then
Let's move forward here.
Moving on.
CG 1.0. That's
a set of principles and ideas rather than a structure.
Rather than a brand, right?
Yes.
Comicsgate cannot be someone's personal brand. It is a movement of tens or who knows, hundreds of thousands of fans who have their own opinions, and a lot of people have their own stinking definitions. So what do you want to do?
It was time for me to start doing the rounds on other people's streams to promote myself. I was invited by Robert Willing, aka Starecraft, for his live stream, the first one I was ever invited to, and one that was watched by, of all people, Ro Kabir of War Campaign.
We got to get entertainment back to where there's nothing wrong with being a strong female.
Oh, this guy.
I write about strong females. I've created some powerful.
He was on here for a couple times.
Females.
One of the guests on Willing's stream was a man named John Wallace.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know
this guy, the guy that hated my
Wallace
guts.
was interacting behind the scenes with a woman named Ashley, who went by the YouTube name of Lola Meets. She was also the wife of YouTube celebrity and comic skater, That Umbrella Guy, aka Tug.
Lola Meets.
And who is Lola Meets?
The Umbrella Guy's wife. Jimmy was saying
she came
something.
on. She was really cool. She
She
really
came
nice.
on. She was really nice, but then Jimmy started saying stuff about, I watch your husband's show. Your daughter's phenomenal. Your husband, your daughter
He
is
didn't
beautiful.
say any of that. He was very vague.
He said something along those lines. If you pull up the live stream from back then and watch it, they were close enough. And then when she said real quick, don't dox me. When she said that, I'm sitting there thinking in the back of my brain, I'm like, husband, show, daughter be on the show with you.
Okay, I'm gonna give anybody and everybody a piece of advice. Dox yourself. Seriously. I did the whole faceless video thing for a long time, and people were like, "Oh, they're getting doxxed. They're getting doxxed." I turned on the camera. You know what? Nobody cares.
I thought
Yep,
about doing that. So you guys just look at my hands the whole entire time.
I think I was the one who told you that, because everyone thought it was weird that I was willing to associate my actual full name with my YouTube. But my rationale has always been, if you dox yourself from the off, then they can't do it to you.
Well, also I got to admit, it wasn't. I did the face reveal, but by that time, you know, my brother was on, and he was like, "Well, f you, Aaron," you know, and okay, your name is Chef Jack Butler, so now everybody's got my first and last name. And then Jack was on. He goes, "Yeah, I just on my own YouTube page over there, I posted all the pictures from our trip to what was it? Is Chef Mickey's." I was like, "Really? Did you now? Okay, everything's out there, Joe. Just go on ahead." But the thing is when you're not hiding it and all that kind of stuff, you're not worried about that shit. And at this point, everybody who's ever bought a comic book at my auction now even has my address. So, what did I just fucking do?
This is Todd McFarlane.
Oh no!
You lost it.
What the hell did I do? Okay, yeah, I gotta find.
Much like the snowflake in Dr. Seuss's book.
Okay, here we are.
And I left. I stopped calling myself Comics.
We're about right.
Trying to get in contact with her to find out what's going on. She still ghosting me, still giving me stupid
package sitting right in front of my door.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward.
Freaking tried to target every single one of us for destruction, myself included.
Don't talk about the Red Queen. The Red Queen, very sexy outside, inside not so sexy. You understand who I speak of?
Yeah, we know exactly who you're talking about.
Infamous.
Yep, Miss Tons of Fun herself.
Very pretty lady. Okay, Gat, can you speak a little bit of history of this whore?
She's been around for as long as I can remember, man. Like, she's kind of like fuck. Herpes,
we don't even usually talk about her because she's
like herpes. Like, Comicsgate cannot shake her. So
while CG's enemies grew, with the likes of Mags Visaggio, Late Night Comics, Redfamous, Bill.
Okay, it worked the first time. You didn't have to repeat it.
One would emerge.
Late Night Comics and I didn't know he was an enemy of Comicsgate.
So I like he's like Brian. I mean, Mags.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it worked the first time because it sounded organic. Repeating it just kind of ruins the bit.
Within the ranks of CG, his name was Christopher the Comic Book Hut. So today I got back from the hut and I found this package sitting right in front of my door.
I have no memory of this guy whatsoever.
Yeah, he never really blew up in spite of anybody trying to help him.
The hut of New York City. The Comic Book Hut arrived around November. EVS started noticing his videos, which shot Hut's egos up a bit. So much so that he began making provocative comments towards his contemporaries, like Nerdette's Newsstand. Finally, the Hut made his live stream debut on Comicsgate Live.
You have the Hut here.
No way. Are you Comic Book Hut?
Yes, I am.
Oh, how about that? I've never seen your face before. I like your disguise. Welcome, Comic Book Hut. You are the other newbie in the chat that I want to introduce to everyone.
I've been thinking about this today, actually. This whole thing, it all goes back to this, all goes back to feminism. They have these 4 tropes. I'm not going to go into all of them, but one of the things they sort of denounce is this idea of beauty. And because they denounce that idea of beauty, they want to break down the things that we all have these standards for.
Yeah,
and because of that,
meritocracy.
They push these things on everybody. Now, DeVarcy and Thomas mentioned this the other day, that superheroes are supposed to be super. Everything they do is exaggerated. So now all these creators are denouncing all that and basically trying to take it apart. I want to say I really appreciate you inviting me on here. I know that you'd asked me about a month ago or 2 months ago, whatever it was, but because I was using my phone at the time, I hadn't used my computer. I just want to thank you for inviting me again.
No, dude, you're going to be invited all the time. So get used to it.
Narrator, it did not happen that way.
Hold on. First of all, let's see. Can you share the name of the video so I can watch it again later? Says Jose. Actually, the name of the video is the name of my video, except for it doesn't have the word EFAP at the end.
And literally, just go to that guy's channel. Al is a Matt. It's the very first thing you're gonna see.
Harassment, the Shadow Band is his channel, and by the way, I have to say hello to Elijah the Aramon. How
Jesus
you doing,
Christ,
sir?
Elijah! It's been forever and a day. I saw him at Nudie here earlier too. Jeez, it's been a while.
Yep.
It's almost like they're only here for the drama channels.
Elijah, I told you I used to share videos. Elijah's was huge. If I remember correctly, Elijah was the one that did the My Hero Academia video. I kid you not, for 2 months, that was the biggest video on my channel. And it actually helped his channel grow. So I'm glad it did. If I'm remembering correctly, you were the My Hero Academia thing.
That was Elijah, yes.
I wish I still had the poll to do that for people. Because that was really nice. Let's see. But anyway, welcome. Glad to have you back. And Eric is saying Chris, the comic book hut, is actually a baseball fan.
Guy was
has 2 successful channels.
Yeah.
Getting the old band back together, I guess, is tonight.
Comic Book Hut was used by EVS to go after Doug Ernst.
Yes, I'm sure we're going to get to that part. But yeah, I listened to one where he was calling Comic Book Hut the F word for gay people, and why are you still on that channel? Why would you, if somebody were to swear at you and to condescend to you that much, why remain on that channel? I mean, we insult each other, but it's friendly,
Yeah, we bust each other's balls, and we do so on the regular.
Right.
It's
Dalton, you never say that to me. You do not bust my balls.
Yeah, here we bust nuts. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, let's go forward.
Appeared one more time. His appearance was also besieged with mic problems that caused him to be muted a few times. To sum it up, he never returned to Comicsgate Live.
Sad to say,
everybody's first stream is
backstab against
ridiculous.
Human Sunbeam.
I remember mine was when we did the
good friend
Black Panther video.
This time it was performed by the Comic Book Hut. As you might know, he is another one of those people that was basically just handed a channel by the glory of the Sunbeam and the followers and members of Comicsgate. He wouldn't even have a channel worth.
Is he calling
Ethan
the glory of the Sunbeam, or is that a different channel?
Or subs? I know that I had subbed to him, seen some of his videos.
I think he's being poetic and rhetorical. We're trying to be.
Simply because of the fact he got on Ethan's live stream.
There's this thing, it's kind of like watching a car accident happen. I don't watch all of the Huts videos, but I watch many of the Huts videos because it's like you just don't know what he's going to say. And so I've watched through all of them. I can count, I scroll through this list, and you've made probably at least 50 videos about Ethan Van Sciver. I know why you do, because that gets you views.
By the next month, the Hut made a full heel turn when he felt spurned by EVS, your boy Zach, and all of CG, specifically due to how he felt Tim Lim was treated. So the Hut joined the rogue gallery.
To be fair,
of CG
he's correct.
Along with Renfamous.
How Tim Lim was, I don't know if he's going to talk about this later, where I could bring up the story or something, but there was a bit with Tim Lim where they were talking about him doing something undercover or something. It was it happened to Tim at the same time as the debate, and that was also the week that they came to Disney, and I met him. I had my camera. That was when I tried to start a Disney Channel. It didn't take off, mainly because I didn't do anything with it. But I took the camera and I was joking around. I'm filming everything, and I turned the camera and I go, "The 2 most wanted guys in Comicsgate," and he was like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that."
Tim is good people.
He really is. He really is.
Yeah, the funny part about this story is it wasn't even Tim, it was some random guy you saw there.
Yeah, it was just another agent. That's why I said, "I'm not Tim." Yeah, that's what he was really saying. But I thought that was kind of funny because when they went after somebody, they really went after someone. And if you didn't have the I don't want to say skill, because that makes it seem like, you know, somebody can't do it. But if you don't have the ability to turn that kind of stuff off, which, by the way, when you begin a YouTube channel, it's not as strong as if you've, like right now, people call me all sorts of bad shit all the time. I don't care. You're not my wife. You're not my children. You're not. Those are of whom my opinions and my self-esteem really lie with. But yeah, it was funny that at the time they just thought, it's just like I said, the Comicsgate was ridiculous with all the backstabbing and such.
I think it says something that all the people we're still on good terms with wound up being the people who were the most good people, and all the people who we were basically forced to be on the outs with were varying degrees of sleazebags.
Yeah. Oh, MARANYA is saying EVS literally calls himself the human sunbeam. So, okay, here's the thing though, and this is what I always had a problem with. Why would anybody else? Okay, Eric Breen. According to Eric Breen, our first interaction was he said something, and he said something along the lines of, "Well, DNC said," and my reaction was, "I don't care what DNC said. I can watch."
Yeah,
the
I
video.
don't speak for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what DNC said. I can watch his video. I want to know what you say. I want to know your opinion. That is how I've always reacted and acted with my audience. I never wanted Hail Caesar or any of that kind of shit. I get it. I see the value because those people are loyal to a point, and they're going to watch
the
all your
cult of
videos.
personality is real, folks.
But I want what we got. We've got such an eclectic audience.
Like I say, I think
the leftist, you being the Bernie bro. We've got so many people that just are their own people here, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I think I think it says something that all the people we were, on the outs with wound up being various degrees of sleazebags with bodies in their closet, metaphorically, and all the people that stuck around are people that have been, true friends to each other since the word go, and will remain so until YouTube is no longer a thing, probably.
EVS, the human gaslight. Hey, hey, Hanger 18, what's up, man? Yeah, it is it's like old
it
school.
kind of makes sense, but EVS calling you the human sunbeam because he thinks the world revolves around him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's that much of a narcissist.
I swear to God, guys, I'm going to do this. When we go to the storage shed, I'm going to try to find the right box. Tim Lim, we were at Bongos. It was the Gloria Estefan restaurant at Disney. Mm-hmm. And they had paper that they would give kids crayons they could draw on. Well, walking in, Tim grabbed some crayons and he started drawing all sorts of stuff.
Because artist.
He drew me an Alfred Hitchcock silhouette. And then he started doodling. And I asked him, what you drawing? And he goes, "You'll see." And I said, well, what you drawing? He goes, "It looks like Ego." He goes, "Yeah, I'm drawing Ego, the living planet." And he finished and he shows it to me, and it's EVS's face on Ego, the living planet.
If that doesn't age like fine wine, I don't know what does.
So we're getting done. We're having dinner after we're done with it, and everybody pays, and we get up to go. And I said, "You're not going to take this?" He says, "No." And I was like, "Bullshit, rip, tear. I'm keeping this shit. I'm going to frame that fucker sometime." But yeah, so I've got a Tim Lim original of Ethan Van Sciver as Ego, the living planet, and it is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. Let's see. Elijah saying so many things have happened over the last 5 years. I think it's been that long. It really has, hasn't it? I'm still around. I'm just doing my own thing now, like everyone else. I just had to put my head in occasionally. I appreciate it. And hello to you, Hail Easer. Hi, I like that. Never got the auto warship with the Pie Man. I don't either. And hey, Charlie McNeil's saying I forgot about some of this. Yep. And yeah,
it's weirdly nostalgic to look back on it now and
I know,
actually
right?
see it in like a documentary format.
Yeah, and thank you to Alasmit for doing this. I mean, it's really so. I think this is very good for a guy who is on the outside. I don't know. I would love to talk to him about this. But it seems to me, he mentioned he looked through a whole bunch of live streams and so forth, but it almost seems to me like that's where he got all of his information.
Yeah,
I
he seems
know
to
he
have
didn't
actually
talk
done
to
his
me.
homework.
I don't know. I know that he never talked to me about this. So it's like he's got the surface, but there's so much that went on backstage that I think is missing from these. Let me go forward with this.
Who many had believed was a hired hand by Joe Quesada. I joined CG in 2018, learning from other creators as well as getting blocked by some of the comic book industry scumbags.
I would say on this, get yourself a letterer. Get
Yeah.
yourself a letterer. All right. Lettering is not that expensive compared to some other things like getting pages of art. Get yourself the best letterer you can get.
I had also begun receiving feedback, the first of many that would help greatly improve the book. By 2019, I had also joined some of my first Comicsgate DM groups that featured the likes of creators Simon Potier, Wenger, Peter Gilmore, Arch City Comics, and a newbie to the scene named Mandy Summers. This gathering of creatives
I
gave me the
remember
idea
Mandy's
to produce
boobs.
a series inspired by Space Ghost Coast to Coast, with the express intent on promoting Comicsgate creators.
I
This
can't
show
forget
would
that horrible
become
face.
the Road Warrior Drake analysis.
Well, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, could be a different person, but I do remember it would be like, here's my book. And she would be in a bikini.
Mandy Summers, tee-hee.
Yeah. It would always be like that. So I was like, what are you promoting here? Yeah. Her her OF would have posters of her comic book all over the place. I'm only here to sell my comic. Look at my boob. By the way, I'm not saying I'm making a joke. Okay.
Well, actually, it's funny you blame that on Mandy Summers, but it's you. He has his own comic book. And he showed us his boobs. We didn't ask for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Road Warrior Drake explained this part.
Comicsgate, the independent comic book movement where grown men go on live streams and scream their desires to kill each other in dogmatic decrees of self-adulation. They also make comic books too.
Occasionally.
But lost in the sea of adult regression are the animated productions, cartoons if you will, that came out of this movement. Yours truly, Road Warrior Drake, was the first true, bona fide animated production to come out of Comicsgate, May 2019. Alcoholic Couch Dweller Cecil's Cash Grab trailer didn't get released until February 2020. Camel Moon didn't start doing animated shorts until March 2020. And Australian demoralized fat bottom Michael Bancroft didn't produce his animated shorts until April 2020. Yes, the Beast Citizen was the trendsetter. My first show had Nerdette's newsstands Tristan on, and production values aside, it made Comicsgate history.
Quit twisting my words, jackass.
Jackass? Do I look like a jackass too? I have a beak!
Or you kind of do, though. Like, I'm not wrong.
So you are part of the hate movement. You have offended me, and you have thrown racial epithets against me.
I have not done either one of those things. Quit crying, victim.
The animation for the series progressed, and I personally had fun interviewing guests, including Mandy Summers and even bigger YouTube personalities like movie critic Rambo Raff for life.
You need to direct a film starring yours truly, the Beast Citizen.
Sure, but I don't work with ducks. So fuck it. But seriously...
Just a second, fat bottom. What did you call me?
A duck in the muck, a fuck in the suck. But you know what? I like ducks. I changed my mind. You don't star in the movie. If you don't be a man's man and kick ass and take names, have a good character.
I just came back to
a good
this, and I'm
story,
going with and see you guys later.
Ethan Van Sciver.
Nice.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm dead dog serious.
Oh.
Dead dog serious. So that's my thank you, because this project would not have happened if you didn't take my call and if we didn't have a little talk.
No, you got to admit, being on Ethan's that would make you a couple of bucks. You know,
especially during the like peak of it. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Lolbird is saying that that girl was known to be an ex-cam girl who sold her used panties. Used for what? Because that could go either way.
I don't know.
used these when I was on a drunk bender, and holy crap, the stains are real. You know.
Also, shout out to EVS for making it big after being on this channel.
I know, right?
And I showed you the drawing, and you said yes. So
that's really nice.
I just want you to know that there's guys. Now, after you did that, you didn't have to do any more, and you kept doing more for me. But I'm just saying, I was ready to just go off and work, and I did. I went off and did all the heavy lifting on this project. But all of this would not have happened if not that tiny hinge. You could have just ignored my call. Wouldn't have happened. Bigfoot Bill would be sitting back there in the vault.
While all things seemed well with Tenaple and Van Sciver, things would eventually fall apart behind the scenes. Doug had told Ethan in private that he was leaving Comicsgate. Ethan begged him to stay and not to say anything publicly if he did leave. Doug, appreciative of Ethan's help, acquiesced. But many in the CG community caught wind of a potential split. This brought a controversial debate over whether Ternaple's Earthworm Jim launched a cow was a Comicsgate book. There are even attempts to this day to place doubt that it was a CG book. However, EVS was still holding on to Doug being CG, despite any divide between them two. Plus, Earthworm Jim launched on Indiegogo.
Oh, well,
in May
hold on.
of
What was that
2019.
saying? Wait a second. I've
Tenaple
got
was
to back
invited.
up a touch.
Doug had told Ethan.
Okay,
And
where's
I showed you the drawing.
a crowd? Oh, God, I'm gonna have to go.
This
through
brought
all
a
this.
controversial debate over whether Ternaple's Earthworm Jim launched a cow was a Comicsgate book. There are even attempts to this day
Am I too drunk where I'm not funny? I'm saying you do. Okay.
to
That's
place
not what I was
doubt that
looking
it
for.
was a CG book. However, EVS was still.
This is it. Doug can do whatever he wants to do, but leaving CG means deciding that SJW is good for the prosperity of comics and the customers.
Of all the egoism I've ever seen, my God.
If you are not CG, you are SJW. If you are not with us, then obviously you are against us. This is the horse shit that caused all of this. OG
Dealing in absolutes, lol.
How did anybody ever take this guy in serious?
I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but I never did. I always kind of.
If you are somebody who followed Ethan or still does, it can't be because of anything serious. You're watching like ironically, right? I mean, seriously, what was it about Ethan Van Sciver? If you're somebody who followed him for a long time, what was it that made you continue to follow him after he took CG from the OG? Actually got all my books from Doug, and the art and product was top notch. That's what I heard. EVS V and his CG ink. I know, right? My goodness gracious. But I would love to hear
Still
that.
holding on to Doug being CG, despite any divide between them two. Plus, Earthworm Jim launched on Indiegogo in May of 2019. Tenaple was invited as a guest on Comicsgate streams, such as those by Antonio Bryce.
There's going to be a crowdfunded comic on Indiegogo written by the man, the myth, the legend himself, ladies and gentlemen, Doug Tenaple.
Anthony, I love that intro. You and I we're just casual. We're just screwing around on the show. He's all the Doug Tenaple.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, our first guest is the gentle giant, Mr. Doug Tenaple. And Doug is a creative in video game Earthworm Jim. And yeah, there you go.
We just broke the Indiegogo record for comic crowdfunding. It's at $47,000. We're about to crack $750,000. If you guys haven't backed Earthworm Jim, look up Earthworm Jim on Indiegogo. There you go, my people.
Earthworm Jim finished funding on July of 2019. It was that same month that Tenaple appeared as a guest at the San Diego Comic-Con panel. Tenaple made no mention of CG, EVS, or Cyberfrog.
EVS posted resentment over it, which would have not been a thing if Tenaple wasn't considered CG at the time. Why does all this matter? It matters because Earthworm Jim became the highest grossing Comicsgate book at the time, higher than Cyberfrog Blood Honey, the first book.
Ooh,
EVS
the
and Cyberfrog CG
eco-deflation.
saga.
That must have
Caesar's
been.
cash grab trailer featured worm-like caricatures of Doug Tenaple, John De La Rose, Nasser Rabadi, Edwin Boyette, and Mike S. Miller. All of these, part of the early Comicsgate Live days, defected one by one from CG. It bothered me that most of these men, part of the more stringent conservatives within CG, were no longer part of the movement.
The CEO of Comicsgate, Ethan Van Sciver.
Did you hear that? Or was
Yeah,
that just me?
I heard comics gay there. What in the hell?
Okay, so it's just okay. So
No, it was not just you. That was very clear. There was no t at the end of that.
Right.
None whatsoever.
MARANYA says the only three good things EVS did was give an interview platform to Dan Slott, Mark Waid, and I forgot the artist, but he is way better and nicer than EVS ever was and ever will be. Jason Fabok was the artist. Jason Fabok is awesome. He's doing great work for Ghost Machine. And Charlie's saying, yeah, I heard that too. All right.
Has called me a homophobe and a transphobe. That is a anti-Christian organization. He is anti-Christian for using those words. Someone pulled the string in the back of his head and he aped the words.
Okay, yeah, Ethan has done a couple of things with the whole Christian. I am so Christian. By the way, he throws the F word around so much. I'm not talking about fuck. I'm talking about
yeah.
But the thing
British
is,
cigarette.
I remember he goes on to Nerdette Newsstand's show and he's doing an interview, and he's in a suit that looks a little bit worse than the one that Joe Pesci wears in My Cousin Vinny. And he's he goes, well, before we start, I would like to say a prayer. And Nerdette's like, no, I think we should just get to the interview. He's like, why? You don't like prayers? He's like, no, I just, some people aren't. We just need to get to the interview. And he goes, dear God. And Nerdette, to my surprise, Nerdette let him do it. I would have been like, okay, while he's praying, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you some of the things I'm going to talk about, blah, 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 yada, yada.
Well, it's because she's nicer to him than he would be to her in return, probably.
It was a power move. What can I get away with? And like, I got to tell you, and I said this earlier, I said this earlier on the chat for this video here. If you're ever talking with Ethan Van Sciver, you gotta have your finger hovering over that mute button. Do not give him the chance to power move. He's gonna try it. It's a horseshit thing, but yeah. Anyway, Ethan is a bundle of sticks. It was intentional, and there was a reason behind it. Before you slammed Doug, Pyman was claiming he was the Lord of the Gays. Oh, okay. I wasn't slamming it. I just was saying, I thought I heard it. EVS a hypocrite. Who would have ever believed that, says Hank.
Yeah, that is the oldest of old news, ladies and gentlemen.
Target Christians who are making comics. That's what gets them off. And then, like true SJWs, they point all of their dumb followers to Brigade and fire hose on Mike Miller, Edwin Boyette, myself, Tim Lim, Bean from Pa, you name it. If they're a Christian, they're going to get whacked by Comicsgate. Ethan Van Sciver called me a homophobe and a transphobe. Ethan Van Sciver, you are an SJW. Your organization.
You said it a second time, so it wasn't just an isolated slip of the tongue.
SJW movement. And by the way, what gets rewarded gets repeated. So as long as War Campaign makes $50,000 on vestige, they're getting paid to put penis dildos and rainbows on their opposition. You're paying them, you're rewarding them. I hope they make millions of dollars to prove how stupid all of you are. That's what I hope.
I kind of got to agree with him. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I didn't think you were, I just wanted to head it off. Cool, no problem, Dart.
One of the main kind of proponents and kind of enforcers.
Okay, before we get into this part, it is 1:55 a.m. and we are. I don't know. Everybody's enjoying themselves.
Yeah. Do you want to go for another hour, or shall we pause it there?
I don't know. If everybody's okay, if everybody's into it, let's go.
Yeah, I'm willing
I'm
willing to go as long as we want here. As
I'm
long
just
as
going
we,
to be
you know.
really, really tired. Is RDV with us still?
I think I think he left. He said he'd be back later, about 10 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Because he hasn't said anything. Do you have to get? Yes, I do have to take Gail to work, but I don't have anything to do tomorrow except for pay my insurance and tomorrow night's is cover ranking. So there you go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm willing to go for another hour if you want to.
Okay, there is one rule I have to ask everybody to live by. Apparently, we're going to get into the Politaire, or however you pronounce his name. I don't need to know about his pegging. Okay, let's not bring that up every 5 seconds. You know what? Fuck it. I know now that I mentioned it. That's all the comments are going to be.
No ad hominems are necessary. Let's criticize them for the stupid things they say and believe on its own merits or demerits.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea there, Clint. Go pee and eat. Yeah, that's. Oh, by the way, if you guys, I don't know, I used to actually do this. This is a real thing I used to do. I used to stream until the tea bottle was empty. This is a tea bottle, not a pee bottle. But yeah, once it's done, I'm done. But there you go. All right, let's. Old Peggy. Authenticator, take some comments, entertain the troops, sing them your version of We Will Rock You. I'll be right back. I need to hit the head.
I don't know that song well enough to do it, otherwise I would. But yes, I will entertain the chat. How is everyone doing in the chat? Hey Ethereal, hey Dark Admiral. Let's see, who else do we have? MARANYA is still with us. Undead Quinn is here. How is everyone doing? Honestly, it feels weird to see things that I was directly involved with covered in like a documentary style. But one thing I will say is I'm gonna have to find this guy's channel just to thank him for all of the segments of me he's used, because not only is he one of the only people who has in this purview before, but he also seems to have selected out some of my better moments. So there's that. Because I know not every time I ramble is it a winner, but I have had a few good ones here and there.
And I've got to be a guy in my own home since we don't have towel in the bottom bathroom. Just use the pants and shirt. What do we got going on? I think this whole culture war is getting out of hand with so many properties getting canceled, so many people getting canceled. It's become a joke, says Comics. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we lost. It looks like we might be making a comeback.
Yeah, we're getting a second win, I think. It's fair to say.
I think for at least a little bit, you're going to have all these companies with the DEI. They're going to steer really hard. It's like it's like they don't want to die, so they're making that last effort, gotta run. So I think it's going to go hard for a second, and then it's going to temper. But for now, we have lost this culture war, as damn near every movie, TV show, or what have you has some element. And fuck comics. I mean, I wish I didn't say that. I wish you guys who've been around for a lot know that I was the Paula.
Yep.
I was the Paula. If you guys watched American Idol, I was the that was good. And now I'm like, new comics. I'm done. There's not enough good for me to care anymore about modern comics.
Well, you're also not a good living situation right now, so you can't afford these.
That is true. Money. Well, yeah. Anything.
There still are good comics. It's just there's a lot worse than what there used to be. But the way the way I'll put it, I used to be a Marvel guy. I used to get Spider-Man, and then I eventually went over to DC when it came back to comic books in 2019. And DC started putting out some crappy books. So then I'm like, what's going on with the indie books? I've never really looked at the indie books before. Now we got stuff like Ghost Machine, we've got Skybound, we've got Mad Cave, we've got Miller World. There's so many good indie books. All the people who are driven out of like the big two went into their own stuff. And I'm not talking about Kickstarter. I'm talking about stuff that's affordable. It's like
I've said it before and I will say it again. Another simple factor is cost effectiveness. Yeah. Why would I spend $10 on 2 modern Doctor Strange books when for $15 or $20 I can have Doctor Strange back when it was being written by the people who were actually capable of writing a good Doctor Strange story every great now and again.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing about comic books. People don't realize I don't need to keep buying new books. I don't need to go to Kickstarter and Prozac. There's so many back issues I have never read before.
And there are so many back issues every Saturday night on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. There's I call it, it's a comic book auction for readers. So yes.
Well, yes, that too, but also there has never been a better time for trades and omnibuses. Thanks to Amazon, you can literally find just about any storyline you want in a trade form or an omnibus form.
I think people really should buy books from the auction.
TV,
say your piece, and then we're moving forward.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, real quickly, I just want to say that right now, Diamond's fucked up a lot of stuff. That's why if your shop's hitting yourself through Lunar Press, you'll get your Bad Cave stuff books on time. Unless you are living in the middle of Foxville, where there's nothing here, you have one shop. It might be harder to get some stuff. It all depends on if your shop owner actually is going and sending out orders. I've come across shop owners who do say, "Oh yeah, I'm being fucked over." They don't do anything. They're lazy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who does live in the middle of nowhere because the best thing I have as far as comic books go is a gaming shop that also occasionally sells back issues.
All right, let me get this going.
Right, let's call it that. Is a group called War Campaign, and they have been acknowledged both, between themselves as well as from Ethan, as Ethan Manskyver super fans. Like that's no one disputes that.
The subject of War Campaign's memes had come up multiple times, and to some it was becoming a hindrance to the unity of Comicsgate. Mike S. Miller tweeted the now infamous Pride is a Sin tweet during Cape Pride Month, which got him heat among those in Comicsgate. All of these things would be capped off in the now legendary stream, The Fall of Rome, also known as the Soilum Witch Trials.
I mean, I had such good news for you guys, and now I'm pissed off.
Why does anything need defending with schemes and scams? Or why do people need to be harassed for months? Right? Why do people need to be threatened? Why any of this? And half that stuff is right out in the open.
I am Caesar of Comicsgate. I am now taking the mantle of leadership for this one moment. We now have
for this one
just
moment.
One, Ethan, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
he has been like this all through everything.
Comicsgate. I'm announcing purity testing in Comicsgate.
And again, that's not new, Ethan.
Impure in comics.
By the way, this is what he would do also. He would say, no, I'm taking control. I'm telling everybody this. I'm telling everybody that, blah, blah, blah. None of it. He would do none of it. All right, let's go.
Gate are the people who are seeking impurity in others. I know that's a little bit of a catch-22, isn't it, Edwin? If you are actively seeking to exclude people from purchasing comics, supporting Comicsgate, and being a part of this community and this fandom, you are impure. You don't belong here.
At the same time, he is actually actively calling out OGCG as being bad.
I can agree with that sentiment in isolation, especially as compared to John Della Rose, who is one of those people who genuinely makes me uncomfortable with how just abrasive he is with his faith. Obviously, I have lots of friends who are of a Christian bent. I have absolutely nothing against Christianity, and most of my friends have never taken an issue with me from a religious angle. But the John Della Rose style Bible thumping is actually a problem. So on some kind of paper, I would be on Ethan's side with this argument. But given how often Ethan will say whatever he has to say in order to make himself the God King of whatever conversation he's in, I don't trust him as far as I could kick him, and I can't kick anyone because I'm disabled.
There you go.
But I want to say real quick. You say that you reflect EVS, right? You guys reflect them, but when you guys go attacking, independent creators or consumers, that's reflecting EVS. You guys making EVS look like shit. That's not right.
Well, Critias was bullied by War Campaign. Critias was bullied by War Campaign. It's just got to stop.
Praetorian, this is a man named Richard. Okay, he joined the War Campaign. I would say within about 3 months of us forming. What happened here? So Praetorian would always take things one step too far. He used the channel, so I had given access to the War Campaign channel to quite a few members, probably about 8 of our members, but he actually flagged another channel using our channel, which I just thought was completely unacceptable.
He flagged another channel using your channel, so he was actually trying to take down someone else's channel as
you
War
got it.
Campaign.
That's right. Yeah. So I said to him, listen, that's not what we do. That's that's not acceptable behavior. Tyler, he had a book. He had taken a photo at a bookstore, and Prey Googled the UPC, and he somehow figured out where that UPC was from. It was from Kansas State. And then he said to him, you know what, you got to be careful because that picture is going to give away your location. This kind of stuff, this kind of paranoia and the rest. I mean, he was unstable. You know what? He's been to war. He claims to have PTSD, so this is the thing with him.
All right, you're deconstructing his character right now. Prey came to me and Mike and said he was deeply remorseful for anything he did. He said he had hurt on his hands, he had done bad stuff, and was deeply apologetic.
I mean,
why don't you address the stuff that was done instead of trying to spin the messenger and deconstruct the message once?
Wow, bang-a-rang, Edwin. Yeah, quit the bullshit is basically
Yeah,
what
when
Edwin's
is
saying.
Edwin? Is Edwin ever wrong? We've seen a lot of his clips here, and he always seems to be the one talking sense.
Yep.
Again.
And what does it have to do with comics? What does the LARPing have to do with comic books? I've never understood that. Can anybody share that?
What does Comicsgate have to do with comics other than buy our? I mean, you don't talk
Other
about
than financing them occasionally, yeah.
Oh, it was just fun. It was fun. And we used to have a show called The LARPening where we did actual Dungeons and Dragons, and it was fun.
I don't mean they
fair enough.
I don't mean they have to leave Comicsgate.
You want them to just stop calling themselves War Campaign,
I want
Mike?
them to disband this bull crap.
That's ridiculous.
Really? That is scaring off paying customers.
Some of the memes are really funny and tasteful. I think the one who did the one with the Magnum PI thing?
That was some funny shit. Yeah.
That was funny. That doesn't bother anybody.
That was funny. I am rarely offended on my own behalf. But when you're going after women, when you're going after people, when you've got your crew going into Facebook,
I never got that.
When you're sending coded messages to people so that they know you're alerting them that you have their personal information, it's scummy. Cut it out.
And
stop minimizing. Stop. All you got to do is say, we're sorry. We're sorry. If we made anybody feel afraid, we're sorry. You don't have to tell any jokes.
Though the whole point of the War Campaign was to make people afraid to lash out or say things bad about Ethan Van Sciver.
There was
was to protect his sacred ego, apparently.
I'm not gonna say her name, but there's about at least about 2 women I know that I interacted with, online that said they both got dildos sent in the mail from War Campaign.
Sent? That is actually a felony.
Yeah, the disgusting. Just screw that in every conceivable hole.
One of them worked with children at a child care thing. And then they were receiving stuff like that in the mail.
My God.
Yeah.
Edwin is running a Marvel Multiverse RPG campaign on his server. The Lesters are in that. That's cool.
Also, putting up pictures
I have
of
zero bad. I'm sorry that you had a bad experience there, Madanui, but Edwin's always been straight up with me.
if you
Someone want to send me a link to that? Because I miss the old Marvel RPG days that we used to do on this channel.
The minute you put up pictures of women, I don't care what they've said to you or not, you start putting pictures of women and start putting like photoshopping like dildos or penises into their face, you've lost all respect, any credibility you might have in your arguments. There's no need for that shit. There's no need for sending people stuff, calling people slurs. It's called, and this is what I said. I don't really like talking about this shit because at the end of the day, I'd rather just talk about the stuff that I like, man. Because this is the other side of the YouTube stuff. We get all this stupid teenage bullshit. It's from middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it really makes me feel validated that almost everyone that we have fallen out with over the years has turned out to be scum, and everyone who's stuck around these parts are just the creme de la creme of human beings, frankly.
The minute you start going into the drama stuff, and then that's all you care about, that's great stuff. But I'm not going to sit there and bring up people's stuff from like the past 5 years. To me, it's just kind of like redundant. We've gone over this. It doesn't matter. This can move on in your life. And if most people would move on in your life, I think YouTube would actually be a lot better place. But so many people are just like the fake dramas. Remember that shit? Keemstar and all the other ones? It was all fabricated fights. And you find out, oh,
these Mr. Medicare, etc. Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's just dumb after the end of the day.
Let's move forward a bit.
You don't have to tell about fudge. I'm telling you,
what about
fans,
fudge? What is this fudge thing?
Fans, these people are going to keep tormenting you. You should shut your wallets. You never have to accept bullying, abuse, or harassment.
I've never heard Edwin be this angry.
Edwin, I know. And he's basically saying we're harassing our fans.
It's about fudge, brother. It's about fudge, man. That is correct. Now, you know what the fudge thing about Tim Doyle, is that new? Or no? Well,
I think it's because Rose said that Mike looked like fudge. Is that
Give me honest critique of my book, and also one of the first critics who became a convert of my style.
Okay, so here's
Meanwhile, Tim Lim and Doug Ernst were already at work with their respective books. Ernst with Soulfinder, and Lim with the first of his successful series, Common America. Jon Malin made a few guest appearances on War Campaign's Drawn and Backhold show, a riff of Mike S. Miller's Drawn and Quartered, where artists would compete in a draw-off, and the winner was chosen by votes from the chat.
Mike, I'm sorry. Put up a straw poll, Mike. Let's take a vote. How many people do you think are honestly going to be back? I'm kidding about the straw poll because I'll flood it. I'll flood it, Mike.
Yeah, that's what you do.
On this fateful night, Malin drew Ro Kabir as the head of a human centipede.
Hail, we got Mr. Jon Malin, the furry king himself. Hail, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hell War Campaign.
Oh, what's that fat fuck's name?
We call him
he had a channel for a little bit and he got pissy. He got pissy with me one time because of something. I forgot what it was. It's like
Micah Curtis?
Yeah.
He was hot for like a good 3 months, and then, or maybe a little more, and then he was gone. His stick was, I always wear cut-off sleeves. I'm like, you're a fat fuck, bro. Why are you wearing?
There's no muscle, or like I know I don't have muscle. The shirts go all the way down. Yeah.
Like unless you're going into a stick or you're gonna play the deep south redneck, might as well put the hat on, miss a few teeth, and have a beer.
I don't recall ever having an issue with Micah Curtis, but I will take your guys' word for it.
Tonight, Wolf Campaign, we're here to take. We're here for new recruits. We're looking for volunteers, and I use volunteers.
We're here for new recruits on the I Love Comics show.
Tonight, they are becoming Wolf Campaign members against their will.
Ro's facial expression told the story. He didn't seem amused. Needless to say, Malin won that night. It was the beginning of what would be the severance between Jon Malin and War Campaign. In our sector of CG, excitement was brewing for a slew of new books, including Wide Holidays.
At this point, I'm 100% out.
The aforementioned Cyborg USA, Simon Potier's Blood Hunt, and War Campaign's own comic, Vestige.
Vestige.
You want to talk about it? You want to give me my $40 or do you not?
I'd be glad to give you $40. You
Okay.
never asked me directly for $40, Phil. All you've done is lie about me.
I've
No,
sent
never
you
have.
multiple
You
emails.
have never
I've
sent me
shown
an
it
email.
on video.
You've never sent me.
Do you
an
want to send me? Do you want to give me my $40 in my hand, or do we want to walk off? Because I do not have time for your bullshit. You can give me $40 now and shut me up, or I can walk off because I have things that I need to do.
bclaymore@gmail.com. I've asked you many times.
I've sent it to you on Patreon multiple times. I don't know your Gmail.
bclaymore@gmail.com.
I've sent it to your Kickstarter. I've
Oh,
sent it to your
B. Clay,
Kickstarter multiple times.
the
multiple
very
messages.
second time I was on stream.
Attack for you for what?
Nostalgia.
What did I make up?
Really? Your very first video about me was completely invented, and you know that.
Which one?
I had no
What
idea
did
that
I?
you were this
Yeah.
crazy
Okay, hold on. Let me tell a little backstory here for those of you who don't know. The guy that you're seeing here, his name's B. Clay Moore. According to him, he did a Kickstarter with a friend, and they backed out. They took the money and ran. And they never produced it. I think it was called Hawaiian Dick or something like that. And they never produced the book. And at this point in time, that was unheard of, apparently. Now it's just old hat. You know, we're going to take your money and we're never going to give you shit is the business model of CG nowadays.
To be fair, that predates CG by a good number of years because Anita Sarkeesian, cough, cough.
So Captain Cummings was one of the backers of B. Clay Moore's book, and he would bring it up all the time. B. Clay Moore is a bullshitter, and he steals people's money and all that kind of stuff. So the person with the camera, that's Captain Cummings, and he's approaching B. Clay Moore. Let's see. I watch Micah a lot, and he's not one of these idiots. If anything, he's basically backed out of the culture war shit because how annoying it is. At the time, there you go. But, everybody has gone their own separate ways.
Thank you, Ethereal Dragon and Maranya, for trying to get me that link. I will obviously check it out after the stream.
Maranya's saying there were claiming there were computer problems, including hard drive failures. Okay, there you go. Let's go forward.
State something that you just engaged me.
So you can put it on your video. That's right. I want to have a conversation with you because you're not man enough.
I just want my $40. I have things to do. Are you going to give me my $40 now?
Let me ask you a question.
Are you going to give me my $40 that you owe me now, or should I just walk off?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, then I'll just walk off.
I'd like to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to you unless you have $40. Okay, I'm going to call the police then.
You know, I went from 200 to 1,200 subs in like 4 months after I left Comicsgate because I guess people in Comicsgate don't like comic-based content. I made multiple comic channels I couldn't get.
Yeah, that's the irony.
The truest thing ever spoken was that people in Comicsgate don't care about the comic book content.
That's why we never hit it big.
RDV, what were you saying?
Did.
RDV's been trying to. What were you saying?
I've only ever heard of Vicky. The other two are just like who?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know if it's Vicky flip flops.
Yeah, Viggy was on the channel a couple of times, and I think I might have been on her channel once. It was a while back, but yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't brought up Rumble Terrier.
Oh, that guy. I remember him.
More than 120, 130 subs. But I go and hang out, just hang out in live streams with regular people, and then I'm getting hundreds or thousands of views just because I'm friendly.
A growing number of dissatisfied CG customers began leaving the movement over their heavier emphasis on drama rather than comic books. One of the biggest scars in CG were the growing number of late and unfulfilled books, including some that would never see the light of day. Books such as Cal Jameson's Shinobi Sasquatch, Andrew Huerta's Sovereign, and James Dean Anderson's Conflict Claws Out. The most high-profile of these never-to-be-fulfilled books was Detective Dead by Antonio Malpica, a.k.a. Critias.
About 40 pages on artwork, about 40 pages of ink, and about 30 pages of color, 29 pages of color. No lettering.
Out of 136 pages.
Yeah, 132.
You know, now, Mikey, you and everybody's asking where the money is. We have already put out on the table a few times. The money is gone. Am I wrong on that? The money's gone, right?
Right.
There is no money.
Critias read piece by piece where the money was spent.
Yeah, and that's the problem. People were expecting books. It's now I hear that part of the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo and all that says
It's
you
actually
might
in the
not
rules.
receive
Yeah.
a product.
You're backing something only.
Yeah. So there you go. It's like just going to these things is a big risk.
Well, I said, unless I'm getting a nice, good book and it's coming out on time. Like, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to pay $30 for someone person I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Tim Lim has a record of putting his books out, doing at least 3 campaigns a year.
Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini, they are workhorses.
And now they said they every book gets fulfilled on time. You're paying the most you're paying probably is maybe $10 to $15 probably.
I honestly don't know how Tim and Mark do it, but dear God, it must be hard.
You know how they do it is because of the fact that these guys are not making it their full-time job. They have other jobs. This is a hobby. And they don't spend their time on YouTube bitching about other people saying shit about them. They don't care. They go up there, they put their campaign on there, announce it, boom.
Okay.
They are, I'm just saying, they are the model to follow if you really want to make it as an creator. They have people because what they're doing, their style is like a mixture of manga / Western comics. They've got people from Japan who've been supporting them, and now they get people who actually want to make products based off their characters in there.
One of the reasons why the comic book sold for $2,000 is the fact that that was the beginning of the talks of the Common America anime.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I wanted to bring up Rhaegar was saying Sovereign and Detective Dead guys. I remember EVS was pushing those guys hard. I know a lot of you probably don't know or don't remember a lot about the debate, but one of the things I said was by making it about the comic book creators and not the comic book readers, you're also making Comicsgate vulnerable to those that are going to come along and say, hey, I believe everything you believe. I'm the Comicsgate guy. I'm putting this book out. Back this book. I need to make $1 million just like Ethan did, blah, 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 yada, yada. And they're going to take their fucking money and they're going to run. And that has happened so many freaking times. I think the worst, I don't know if it's the worst, but it's the biggest slap in the face was Red Rooster. The one that they put out in Walmart before they gave to the backers.
Yeah, then Mitch had a meltdown on stream, banging his head against the keyboard. It was great.
Including personal bills.
This is miscellaneous. I spent $125 for miscellaneous to do a Detective Dead like giveaways. I spent $250, on August and July of 2019 on a cable bill. I spent $170 for water. I spent $1686 for the entire year, and $1686 again for another entire year for a car insurance, 2018 and 2019. Then I spent $3,400 in rent around 2018. I spent $79.16 on school supplies. Paid $250 for Creative Market, which is for fonts for the book. I was trying to see what fonts will go well with the
paying for
with the
fonts.
cover. Yeah, I bought multiple fonts.
Chris, what are you doing?
You can get those shit for
I don't know. I wanted
free.
the book to look pretty, so I was just like looking for good fonts for it.
Your letterer should have fonts though.
Yo,
Real talk.
He does, but I'm kind of picky about certain things, man. I just wanted the option to choose.
What are you doing? I'm looking at you funny style now because I'm like, fuck, dude. Why would you? If you are a professional letterer, you have fucking fonts.
Yeah.
He should have a variety of them. My letterer got all kind of motherfucking fonts, and you had to pay a licensing fee because they're being published. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Man.
As far as anything going on with EVS and Doug, none of that has anything to do with me. I like Doug and I like Ethan, and I have nothing to do with any of the stuff going on between them, and none of that has anything to do with me. This took a while to
who's
read,
talking right now?
and I was pretty satisfied with it.
The unfulfilled and late books overshadowed the books that did fulfill, and there were quite a few that delivered, including John.
It sounded like him, I think.
Lone Star, which delivered as far out as Australia. These are just some of the few books that I backed. Call to the Dead, Captain Love. I'm in the middle of reading this. Definitely enjoyed this one so far. Berserker not
Jeff Lafferty has since, I don't think he's Comicsgate. No, he's definitely not Comicsgate anymore. But when he did this, he was definitely Comicsgate.
Yep, took the money.
Obviously,
Have a good day.
he has left. But I like this book. I like the art in it. It's different, but I can appreciate different art styles. Not everything in the comic book world has to be of a particular art style. So definitely appreciate it. Will I get the second
Fair
one?
enough.
Yeah, I will.
I'm glad he
Of
enjoyed
course,
it.
Jon Malin's
Well,
Graveyard Shift comes with the trading card. Of course, Ardonna. First issue of who I think is going to be a character that's going to have a long shelf life in Comicsgate. So hopefully.
And how did that
Nothing in
work out for
Comicsgate
you?
has a long shelf life.
I want to point out, I just saw a book last week on the shelf, and it had a trading card in it. And I was like, a new book, an indie book. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, throw back to the 90s.
But
there.
I wanna shout out to the actual. I mean, I'm not saying I support Adam Post. I'm just saying, I'll just say this. I bought the College of Dead because I was missing a Walking Dead book, I was missing those stuff, so I backed it. My only complaint is that, and it's nothing to knock against Adam Post, but you have multiple characters, it's high school, zombie breakout, it's all done in black and white. There was no distinguishing features between three different these girls. I had no idea.
That's a problem. Yep.
It's like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have you ever?
But I backed it though. You got your money's worth though. It was actually a decent storyline, everything. With the, who can you trust, who can you not trust? The stars.
Well, and that's the thing. Getting your money's worth is the hard part. It seems.
My only nitpick is that when you do black and white, you got to put something on a character so I know who they are in the beginning. Don't do headshots. Do what they're wearing too.
All right, so Tim Lim says MARANYA has a freaking day job and they still got their books out on time.
Tim's
and
a doctor,
in quality.
Isn't Tim like a pediatrician or something?
So he does ears. I remember because when he mentioned you got a lot of hair in your ears. Like, oh, thanks. That's what every guy wants to hear from another guy.
It's compliment because we were wondering where the hair went to.
There you go. Yeah, it went.
Yeah, and even with all of that, Tim still does like 3 books a year somehow.
Yeah, Rhaegar saying, like I said, that's why I was a lot more discerning and cautious about who I backed. I backed a lot of Comicsgate books. However, the ones I backed were the people who did work in the industry.
Yeah, audiologist. Thank you, MARANYA. Tim also does webtoon stuff as well. So he's not just doing the campaigns. He's constantly drawing stuff.
Ethereal saying I want an anime for all of the iconic series. That'd be kind of cool.
Tim
is
just built different, I guess.
I stand by my statement that EVS was pushed out of DC, not because he was conservative, but because he was lazy as fuck and not making his deadlines. His track record for the campaigns prove it, says MARANYA.
Yeah, in hindsight, that's obvious.
Maybe John's is like, bro, can you hurry up or get a better artist?
Yep. Some of these people I remember, some I forget, says Montanui. I thought he was kicked out for being toxic, asks Ethereal. This is the brand guy. I have his comic, but that took forever to come out with Kanan White art.
Yeah, the lie with EVS said he was originally said he was kicked out because of conservative views, but he acts like an SJW. He's not a conservative.
Yeah, a lot of people have pointed that out. Rhaegar says, I never got my John Delaroz book, but I think that was due to me moving, so I don't blame him. Correction, he might be the only guy who didn't work.
That's
Here's the
Finder. That's what I want.
Here's the thing. He can be both a conservative and behave like an SJW. It used to be that the main, moralistically authoritarian ones were the, capital F, capital V family values types. But then the left won, and they got high on their own supply, and then they started doing it, and that was the SJWs. Frankly, I consider SJWs to be a non-partisan term. So you can still be a conservative and also behave like an SJW. It's not something you should do because they're morons, but,
Would you call it a conservative SJW? I call that a grifter who's just identifying as that to get money.
Yep.
Well,
All right, let's move this forward, kids.
Sorry. Yeah.
Wyatt will get on this. The pinnacle of all this is Cyberfall. And it's interesting because when you look at the panels in this book, each panel, and I guess it's only for those that really have been following Comicsgate for as long as I've been following it. each panel, you can see in each panel, not just the care and the love for the art, not just the care and love for storytelling. We see the guy, Ethan, I'm talking about. You see his blood, sweat, and tears. I started pushing myself artistically after getting feedback for my art in Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. I wanted to make it better than it was when I started on it 2 years ago. But make no mistake, I was very motivated. The criticism at first was pretty harsh, and I was confused because, like the underground comics movement and the alternative comics movement before it, I was emulating a style similar to the likes of Eastman and Laird, or Von Bodie, and German artists like Eckhard Breitschuh. It seemed, however, that there were some in not only anti-CG, but within CG that took offense to my art, but there were others who understood what I was doing.
Yeah, well,
cosplaying.
Yeah, that's why I think that Alizmat has done a better job than some of the other
I'm sorry, I'm skipping over the commercials.
Yeah. The show.
Welcome to the first episode of CG Jumpstart between the panels.
Doesn't Delta get the show now?
Say again?
Doesn't Delta get the show now? Every 10 minutes we get a show?
Oh, right, yes. My turn to shill. I hardly ever do anything on my own channel anymore, although my own channel is called The Authenticator. Please do subscribe if you don't mind. The channels that I do the most on are Podcast of the Storm, which I share with the Brainstormer of Pop Culture, which is a geek news and politics sort of news roundup stream every Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And the other channel I do, or at least I try to do on a weekly basis, I share with Mr. E2099, which is the Duality of Man, which is a men's rights and men's issues show primarily.
All right.
So if you'd like to see more of me and my weirdness, or hear more of me and my ranting, those two channels will probably be the most bang for your buck.
All right. I am yawning my ass off, guys. I am about to collapse. So what say we pick this up mañana at 8 o'clock? We will have to go until about 10 when I have to drop. Yep, there you go. That being said, this has been interesting. I'm having a good time going through this. There's a little bit of nostalgia to it. Also, the stuff that I didn't know about. It's great to. I dropped out. I was tired of the bullshit. But yeah, it was just
it's nice to see the stuff you missed.
Yeah,
the episodes you missed in the recap.
Hi, my name is Shilly McShillface. I have a book. I have coffee. I also have a podcast. No one you know has all three of these things by my stuff. Dark Admiral saying good. Yeah, I think we'll join back up about 8 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll run until it's time to do the cover.
Yep.
So there you go. You kids, thank you very much for hanging out. We have a larger audience than usual, so please join us for that as well. If you like the content, if you like our comments, click like, share, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. You don't mind helping out the channel, which is, of course, helping out my family. This the way I make a living. Going over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the tip jar. Thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night, guys.
Cheers, guys.